bound only by frozen memories. It's hard. Losing all these broken dreams.
So, welcome back. Welcome back to another epic little podcast for you awesome people. With me, your host, Timmy25. That's me, guys. That's me. I'm Timmy25, and welcome back to another podcast with me and the T4 Army. It's Friday. That's right. Today is the day when we do something a little bit different. You guys join me throughout the week. Thank you very much, by the way. Watching me play a little bit of GTA 5, watching me play GTA 5, and then you know, surprisingly, I played GTA 5. So thanks very much for joining me for those games, because it wasn't easy picking a different game every day. So I'm really glad that it was just GTA 5 that we had to do every day. So thanks very much for that. Also, I just want to say a massive shout out to the guys for joining us over at youtube.com. We got Brian. Elijah, I think, was the first person in, and then obviously I stopped the live stream and then I started it again. So I'll give it to Elijah for smashing in the door with the first, and then Brian following the second. But then obviously I stopped it and restarted it, and then Brian thought, hey, I got a second chance. So Brian came in the second time, being the first person to kick in that door over at youtube.com. Elijah being second, Ben being third, and Ben saying, sup, all of you. I'm surprised you didn't end that with an okay. And then over at twitch.tv, we got Marlene Wheeler, everybody. The most notable, and I don't know what else to say, but it's Tara's mom. So hi, Marlene. Welcome to the world of podcasting. This is your weekly official talk show that you should never miss, no matter what. Also, we had Freddy 3K. What happened to 30K, 31K, 32K? What happened? Did they die? I don't know. Good questions. Please give me an answer. But anyway, if you guys haven't joined us before, we normally run a podcast every single Friday, and every single Friday we do something a little bit different. Oh, a quick shout out, North Gaming. What's up, boy? T4 Army for life. Even though he's written T4 Armor for life, but it's closer. It's close. Okay, he's close. He's got close. Anyway, so as you guys, if you don't know, we run a podcast every single Friday where we talk about all the hot latest news. Okay, hot off the press. Okay, literally hot news for you people to get involved with, where we've digested some of this information. We've kind of like had a chance to taste it. We've had a chance to sift through the dirt. Okay, it's the media has had a chance to smear the shit over your face and over your television screen, and then what we do, we come along and we scrape that shit. We take a sniff. Tara takes a taste. Holly I don't know what she does with it, and then Exodus, he throws it on people, and then basically we digest that, and then we come up with our version, our own take on what is what. Now, before we begin, obviously, I've got to say a massive shout out to the sponsors, because it's not possible. It just can't be done without those infamous sponsors over at youtube.com. Obviously, I'm talking about we got Cinch Gaming, we got CD Keys, and we've also got those awesome people at Razor.com keeping us lit over at YouTube, and also not forgetting my own personal take on everything, the merchandise, okay? The amazing merchandise that some of you guys have had a chance to enjoy, buy, and wear, and some of yous haven't had a chance to do shit with, which I'm still questioning. How is that possible with 15% off all tank tops and all hoodies? Go grab yourself one right now. We got exclusive tank tops for the ladies, and we got exclusive hoodies for the gents. Not that the ladies can't have the hoodies as well, you can, but I'm just saying we have got tank tops for girls specifically. And actually, the tank top is actually an inspiration from Holly, so crazy hoes, you better fucking buy one, okay? You made me put that shit on the goddamn store. So anyway, go and check it out if you haven't done so already. 15% off at the moment on tank tops and hoodies, so be sure to check that out. And also not forgetting the people over at twitch.tv who help to keep me alive over there, alive and kicking, as I like to call it. And that is obviously g2a.com, and not forgetting those people who handle all of you guys' sponsors over at G4G and also Streamlabs. Thank you very much for those of you who have donated in the past, either through YouTube, using G4G, or using the Streamlabs service. But without further ado, we're going to jump into today's topic. We have got a list to get through today. I'm not even going to lie. This show is normally an hour and a half long, and we have got some serious shit to get through. We have got the Crufts scandal happening, where dogs are getting they're just getting anal raped all the time. So be sure to stick around for that story if you're an animal lover. You really don't want to miss what's happening to these poor, pathetic dogs who just constantly are being molested by these humans. Okay, stick around for that. It's very hot shit. Also, we got the Russians. The Russians can't seem to stay out the news this week, and literally they are in the middle of killing every single spy that ever left Russia to come and spy on the rest of the world. So we got some awesome stuff on that if you're interested in the Russia story. Also, we got the Ohio school kid. That's right, the little boy, the little fat chubby child with the really crazy hair, a bit like mine. Basically, he got placed in a class all by himself during the 17-minute silent protest thing that happened in after the school shooting. We got that coming up. Also, we got the International Women's Day. What the hell is it? And also, it was on the 8th of March. Did you get involved with it? Let us know. Drop your comments down below. Also, not forgetting Katy Perry. That's right. The Katy the Perry has been doing some very dirty, naughty things on the television. Did you guys see Katy Perry's recent nudes? Amazing. They're going to be here live. Be sure to not check to miss that out. Also, we've got another doggy dog issue, and that is with the little puppy that got slapped in the overhead compartment. That's right. We're going to be talking about the famous now dog that ended up dying on a plane. If you guys want to get involved with that story, and let us know about your thoughts and your comments on that particular thing, please be sure to be here while we talk about that. And these, I mean, the order I'm actually vomiting this stuff in is the order we're going to be talking about it in. So that's how the topics are going to roll along. Also, second from last, we got the Mona Lisa Perez scandal. If you guys didn't hear about this, a YouTuber literally shot her boyfriend with a Desert Eagle. Okay, and now it looks like after all of the trial and everything, we're coming to the end of that, and it's something we're going to be discussing on today's podcast. And last but not least, Brianna Brochu. Okay, this vile fucking piece of shit looks like it's going to get away with murder because she's white. Okay, if you don't believe me, stick around till the end and you'll hear all about it. And also, if you guys have got any interesting topics that you want us to talk about during the live podcast, please be sure to drop your comments down below. We'll be more than happy to discuss them live on the podcast. And don't forget, guys, if you ever want to feature, if you ever want to be on the podcast yourselves, it's very simple to do. All you got to do is head over to the Discord group chat and actually put in the comment section of that chat that you want to feature in the podcast as a guest. You got to be able to use Discord in order to be in the podcast. So if you want to get involved, you know what to do. Very simple. Also, before we start, let me just say a quick what's up to Trey Nation. Tried joining, but chat was locked. It's impossible, dude. The chat's never locked. Trey, what is your name? I need to know your name on Discord, and then maybe I'll ban you. I don't know. I can check who's on the ban list. I might have accidentally banned you, Trey, because there was a lot of weird people on the other day. Let me know your name, Trey, and I'll see if I can get you in. Maybe not on this podcast, but maybe on next week's. But yeah, send me a message or leave me a comment in one of my videos so I don't forget. And I'll sort it out. Or hit me at Twitter, whatever. Anyway, as always, we have got our infamous guest with us every single week. You guys get to come along with me on this infamous ride with the guests. This week, we have got a repeat of our becoming sort of hot seat guest every single week now. We got the infamous Crazy Holes. What up, little lady? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
And also, we got the infamous, the non-stoppable, the diabolical, the green man himself, Exodus D. What's up, Exodus?
What up, everybody? I didn't do anything.
And last but not least, we have got the girl who can cough for America. Okay? Not only can she cough for America, she cries wolf more than any other person ever before her time. Okay, the story of the boy cried wolf was depicted from Tara. Okay, and it is the infamous Tara K. Dick. Everyone, what's up, Tara?
Hello.
She's the most chatty person we ever got. Okay, on the goddamn podcast. I can't believe it. Anyway, we'll start off with the first topic. Now, this first topic was brought to light by Crazy Hole. She's the one who was telling me about this, and I was like, dogs? Boring. But then she said to me, look, a lot of people like dogs. She's got a dog. Tara's got like 50 dogs. And then Exodus has got, I don't know how many dogs Exodus got. How many dogs you got, Exodus?
Right now I don't have any.
See, so that
Growing
means
up, I had
previous dog owner. So there you go. He had two before. Me, on the other hand, it's not nice to call girls dogs. But the animal side, I don't know. I don't have any. So, and I know a lot of people who watch the show, they all have pets. They all have dogs. I mean, we had pets back in the day, and I just can't afford to have them anymore, so I just don't bother because they come with their own baggage. All of them do. They'll have like little personalities, and I just can't be dealing with that shit no more. So basically, I don't have any pets anymore, thank God. But the thing is, for those of you who do, Crufts, if you don't know, is it's a competition, okay? It's a competition to look at what makes the best dog. Okay, what makes the best possible dog ever? That's what Crufts is all about. And if you guys haven't read up, this is basically the scandal that happened with Crufts. And basically, with this scandal, this is reported from the Mirror, and this was published on the 9th of March 2018. And basically, the scandals around the Crufts formation over the past years is the allegation of poisoning to an out-of-control pooches. So literally, what they've been sort of caught doing and have been kind of alleged to do is that they've been poisoning beautiful little puppies like this beautiful specimen of animal. Okay, man's best friend, sometimes even a woman's best friend. Being abused. I mean, that looks a bit like your dog actually, Holly. But basically, you know, it's quite sad that they've been doing this, and this is a story that Tara wanted us to run. Not Tara, that Crazy wanted us to run. And the poisoning scandal is around this Poochie. So killed dog breeder D Milligan with her dog Red Setter in 2015. The allegations of poisoning sparked outrage after Jago, the Irish setter, died a few days after competing in the event. So there's been constant issues going on with Crufts and with the dog. I mean, you can see this dog looks like Lassie, but just the better version. And literally, this dog died a few days after competing in Crufts. And there's been a lot of speculation around the kind of treatment that dogs are actually receiving during competition, because there are dog handlers there, and there's also health and safety people there, as well as the dog owners. Now, obviously, the owners have some responsibility, but overall, to keep sort of public safety, there are organizers there who are like dog handlers and dog trainers who are there as well, and they will take control of your animal if you don't keep it under control. So what's been reported is that some things have been gone on during this particular thing, and there's even been a petition by Rebecca Cross, which received a backlash from the dog fans after she picked up her Scottish Terrier by his tail. So literally, you know, it's little things like that, like how are they treating the dogs? Are the dogs being treated properly? I mean, in 2015, over 70,000 people signed a petition calling for the winner of the Crufts Best in Show Award to be stripped of her title. So literally, and that was because of cruelty. And Rebecca Cross enraged dog lovers by picking, like I was saying, her dog up by its tail. I mean, everybody knows animals in general, if they have a tail, you don't step on it, you don't pull it, you don't tread on it, because it's gonna be excruciating. And the thing is, things like that is just terrible. And you can actually see even in this little bit here where Rebecca Cross of the Best of Show in Crufts 2015 for harsh handling, and you can see her kneeling near the chairman here, and you can actually see her pulling on the tail. I don't know if you guys can see that, but if you get a chance to maximize the screen, you'll actually see her tugging on that rear tail like that, and lifting the dog off the ground. And it's sad. It's disgusting. I mean, literally, there's been 77,293 signatures in total out of 100,000 signatures. But even that, even that small little thing that you think, oh, it's not enough. Maybe it could have been more. You know, surely it could have been more. And obviously, the other thing that happened was streaking. A streaker introduced judging for the gun dog group at the 2010 show, who ran around the presentation area with iStreak.com embossed on his naked torso. And basically, that was in protest with the whole issue that's going on. And also, another thing that happened was one dog, which was one pooch in 2012. 5-year-old crossbreed Libby was racing alongside her own owner, and the pair looked like they were doing well before the dog stopped to poop. That's right. Dog decides, gotta go for a dump, doing it right now. And literally, dog sits back and takes a right old dump on the goddamn walkway. I've even got an awesome video to play for you guys, which I think is quite hilarious. Because the little doggy, you know, this is the beauty of animals. There's a reason they're called aminals. It's because they can't actually do anything by themselves. Watch this, it's amazing, absolutely incredible. Look at these dogs, they're amazing, absolutely incredible. Look at this, incredible, absolutely incredible. Look at these dogs. This is what they do every year. This is the show. Every single year they do this.
This is over the age of 12. Sarah's 17.
So 17 years old.
Well ahead of the dog. Well ahead of the dog. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's amazing, the coordination. Even the trainer's got to stay in shape. Look. Gotta take a shit. Gotta take a shit, dude.
Disqualified.
At least they got the bags on hand. Dog's like, yeah, we're good. He's like, come on, I'm ready, let's go. Let's go, I'm ready. Dog's like, I'm ready. I've done it. I'm good. Let's do it. Let's go. Has no
I feel
idea.
some
Okay,
like
that's the benefit of dogs. I mean, that's it. I mean, also there's been health defects of crossbreeding at Crufts, where there was this petition that Crufts, where all winners are losers, and that was because of PETA. They were there actually as activists against the 2015. The Kennel Club considered breaking the 140 years of tradition and officially recognizing crossbreeds such as Labradors. No, sorry, Labradoodies, doodles. If sorry, it
Lavender.
follows controversy over the health defects caused by selective breeding over hundreds of years and the trend towards designer crossbreeds. And again, it's bringing back this idea that this kind of it's all animal cruelty. I mean, you're not gonna say, you know what, I want my kid to be white, but I want him to have Afro-Caribbean hair, so I'm gonna purposefully take something from one person, something from another person, and make my own baby from it. You just wouldn't do it. But this is what's happening with dogs a lot of the times. I mean, especially with pit bulls, and especially with a lot of violent dogs that aren't actually violent. It's just in their blood, and they're being bred with dogs that are even more violent, and then you get fucking, well, then you get zombies, don't you? But anyway. There's been another thing as well. Mutts against Crufts. So there was another protest here from PETA, holds up a sign that reads Mutts against Crufts, which is during the Best in Show, and that was, I think, of 2018 this year. And that's pretty much where this story kind of kicks off. And I just wanted to bring the ladies and gents into this little story about this scandal. And obviously, I'll bring the owner of a dog that loves the dog owners more than anything else, and that is obviously Miss Crazy Holes. This is her little story that we're bringing to light. We've got a couple of stories from Crazy Holes today, which we're going to go through in a little while. So Crazy. I mean, where is your intake? Where is your input? Where is your stance? Where do you stand with these people who? I mean, do you think Crufts is a bad organization, or I mean, tell me what you're thinking.
To be honest, I think it's a freak show. I believe that Crufts is not all about, Crufts is not about the dogs. Basically, Crufts is just all about celebrating dogs who have been bred by humans to have unnatural ways, natural features.
I'm just going to ask you to just adjust your mic slightly, because I can hear a lot of wind on your mic, like breathing. Or is that Exodus's mic?
Yeah, I think
I didn't mean.
Right, go on, go again.
yeah.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, carry on.
So it's I think it's a freak show. It's not about people going there and actually enjoying the show. It's about celebrating dogs who have been bred by humans to have unnatural features that they should have.
Right.
So, like breeds that have, I think there's a name for it, which is called, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the ones with squish faces, like the pugs and the Frenchies, which I know you don't like.
Yeah.
And like the Dachshunds whose legs that are either too small or too big compared to their bodies. Yeah, and so many dogs inbred, and they've either had to have mated with their nieces or cousins or other combos of their family to continue the family tree on. And it's not nice.
No, I mean that's it. I mean, the thing is, I think it is a bit of a freak show. I mean, you wouldn't have I mean, we have the Olympics, which is obviously for human beings to take part in, but this is like the animal version. But I think there's a big difference between a human being taking part in a sport and an animal doing the same thing, because an animal doesn't probably want to do this kind of stuff. They're just doing
No.
it because for the sake of doing it, right?
Mm.
And I think with the whole Crufts thing, you have to kind of get an animal to want to do this kind of stuff, and it's all evolved around treats, you know,
Yeah.
and treating a dog and giving it treats and rewarding it for doing certain behaviors which they learn to do. You know, I mean, dogs don't learn to jump over shit just by just doing it. They do it because they're treated to do it. You know.
Yeah.
And I completely respect what you're saying. I mean, I know you're a dog owner, and I'm sure your little pooch is in very good hands. I mean, what sort of things? I mean, do you think they should scrap the Crufts sort of thing?
I mean, to be honest, they do have like a second version, which is called Scruffs, which is obviously like for like myself, you know, like for dogs who are like mixed breeds or rescues, you know, they have that sort of version, you know,
Right.
and I believe that that's more appealing to people than the actual Crufts version.
Why is that?
Because I believe that Crufts is just all about bloodlines and how the best like Pitbull or the best Staffy or the best German Shepherd, and Scruffs is all just about a dog being a dog.
The natural breeds.
Yeah.
The natural breeds of a dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like keeping the animal sort of its bloodline, its gene lines kind of natural and normal.
Yeah.
And not going like what Crufts do, which is obviously genetically sort of like adapting dogs to breed in a certain way so that you get a certain type of bred of dog.
Yeah.
And then train that pooch to become like a superstar, which then
I mean,
pretty much.
I mean, to be honest, with the way that Crufts is, the dogs are just basically judged on their looks, not on their health.
Right.
You know, they're bred with like birth defects and health conditions. You never know, and it can lead to short lives. You know, because I don't know if you know, but purebred dogs are gonna die a lot more quicker than a mixed breed dog.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. No. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Well, thank you for your input on that.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you shortly. Moving on, we're going to bring Exodus D into this conversation. Exodus, being a previous pet owner, what's your take? I mean, do you know about Crufts? Did you know about this competition that dogs take part in? And now that you've learned about it a little bit more, what's your personal intake on whether this stuff is it right that dogs are put through this kind of scrutiny and this sort of like judgment of them looking the best, and then owners going to extreme lengths to make sure that their pedigree is the best in show?
I mean, I think it's like, honestly, I've heard of Crufts before, but the only time I've heard of it is if it was like something bad like this, like some sort of like fucking scandal, and it's not right with what they do, and sometimes forcing dogs to do stuff, and then just like doing all this poisoning and any other scandal is just really fucked up to do to dogs. Like, dogs are meant to be just like something for your family, just to like take care of.
They're like part of your family. They're meant to be part of the family,
exactly.
isn't it? They're not meant to be like a thing, like a watch or a car.
It's like raising a kid, but it's an animal.
But with all the bad intentions, though, like making sure that it gets to a certain status rather than just being, a dog.
The only time I've had like a dog is just to like raise it as our own and just make sure that it's taken care of and not like dying and shit. Because the two dogs I've had a chocolate lab and black lab mixed, and then I've had just a purebred black lab. And one of them died when it was 13, and we had to give the other one away because we couldn't take care of it anymore. But we gave it to a family member.
Okay, well, at least it's within the family. But you see, it goes back to the same point of it's a pet. You know, it's a family pet. It's part of the family. It's not bred and raised for a specific intention. You know, it's there as like it's there as another being, sort of, being part of the family and stuff.
I feel like this
Tara,
is kind of like the situation with SeaWorld. Like,
no, exactly, no. No, you're 100%. It is not very far from the SeaWorld sort of controversy as well, in terms of zookeeping and zoo pets. Keeping these sort of big wild animals in captivity for our personal amusement. To a certain degree, that's what it's for. But I just want to bring Tara K into this. Tara's a massive pet owner. She has got literally hundreds of dogs at her home. Not really hundreds, but she's got a few pets. So Tara, what's your personal take on this little Crufts scandal? Do you know much about Crufts? Did you know much about Crufts before we brought this subject up today? Thanks to Crazy Holes. And what's your personal take on these kind of shows and these kind of events that are there to celebrate the best of the best, but in a very sort of derogatory manner?
No, I didn't know anything about it before she brought it up.
Yeah.
I think that dogs are meant to be pets, not to be showcased.
Yeah. No, and I think that is a fair point. That is a valid point. I mean, just talking about your personal pets yourself. I mean, I take it your pets are like part of the family, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, they're like my children.
They're like your children, exactly. So, I mean, the thing is, would you put your children through this kind of scrutiny of being the best in show?
Not at all.
So, yeah. So, I mean, the thing is the other thing I wanted to talk about with Crufts is the actual invaded by PETA animal rights protesters. Just watch this quick little video on this little segment. It's only 29 seconds long, but it kind of gives everyone a heads up on the 2018 Crufts, where it was interrupted by animal rights demonstrations on the Sunday. During the award for the best in show, a man and woman ran into the ring at Birmingham NEC, one holding a poster saying Crufts cane urgencies, and they were wrestled to the floor and ejected by this really overweight guys, as you can clearly see. Let's just listen in to this. Hopefully you guys will have a few comments to put to this.
Goes the baton shutter. Goes the baton shutter into the arena. Managing director of Spectrum Brands. Goes the baton shutter. Goes the baton shutter into the arena. Managing director of Spectrum Brands.
So as you can see from that. But as you can see from that footage, it was literally a mad rush. Two people came on, a man and a woman, and it was during the actual ceremony where dogs are actually given their awards for how they did in the best in show. First, second, and third, as always, is the way that it goes. PETA, if you don't know much about PETA, PETA is an animal activist group, and basically they are there to protect animal rights, and they vouch for a lot of animal rights, animal cruelty. They have a massive issue with things like Sea Life Centre, SeaWorld, zoos, zookeeping, and also with Crufts and other sort of animal sportings that take place, which involve animals being placed in a certain light, and then obviously having to go through certain types of events. And in that event is the level of cruelty that the animal has to suffer. And it may all look fair and dandy and fine and well, but at the same time, what you'll find is with a lot of these things is that things are going on which a lot of people don't realize is going on, and it doesn't seem to be a lot done about the actual well, there's not a lot done about how these animals are actually protected, because people are too busy thinking more along the lines of what is what is fun, what is your entertainment, because this is what it's all about. It's about entertainment. And I mean, the thing is, just want to bring Crazy Holes back into this because this is the topic that she wanted to talk about. And in terms of the best in show, and in terms of PETA, do you think this kind of protest has an effect on changing people's perspective or getting the message out that Crufts isn't what it's sort of made out to be? There's actually a double-edged sword here that a lot of people don't realize. They're watching the shows but don't actually realize that for this show to happen, there's a lot of background stuff that goes on where pets are heavily neglected.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I've never actually been to a Crufts, but I have watched it all the time because they broadcast it live on YouTube. And, you know, I have seen like a few mistreatments, mishandlements on the live, you know. And, you know, I've seen people like literally grabbing the brush and literally scraping it across their bodies. And you know, like you have those brushes that are just like metal, and they're just trying to get them to fluff them up and look all good. To be honest, I mean, with PETA, I mean, I'm 50-50 with them. You know, I agree with some of the things that they have activists against. You know, but there's some things that I'm like, maybe you're going a bit OTT on that kind of situation, and you may be going a bit OTT on that situation.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well,
but with Crufts, I 100% believe that it's just a freak show.
Okay. No, and that's fair. That's a fair comment. Also, Exodus, I just want to bring you into this about the PETA organization who are there to kind of protect animals against cruelty. What's your? Do you think this kind of activist, this kind of protest, actually has an effect on people's perceptions? Does it paint a bad picture for Crufts, or does it just make activists look like psychos who are just ready to act really out of character at any given chance?
I feel like it's both, to be honest, because yeah, they're doing it for a good thing, but then there are people that have no idea what they're doing, and they're thinking, wow, these people are insane. They're doing this at a dog show, but then at the same time, it kind of it gives them a bad image because there's certain parts, as you said, with the girl pulling the dog's tail that's clearly on TV and stuff, and like it gives them a bad rep for mistreating animals. So
So the kind of like. So do you think the shock effect does have some positivity, but also has some negativity alongside? It's a bit 50-50.
Yes.
Okay, Tara K, what's your take on PETA? I mean, have you heard about PETA, the organization, and some of the stuff that they've been up to? And also, alongside PETA, do you think this kind of level of protest, this way of showing your discontent or your unwillingness to comply with a show like the Crufts show, makes any real effect? Does it have a point, or are they just barking up the wrong tree?
Yeah, I've heard of them. I don't know. I agree with the other two that it's sometimes it just seems sometimes that they do things like, I would say, wrongly. They go about doing things wrong. Like, there's other ways they can do things. They don't. I don't know how.
What do you think would be? I mean, the thing is, obviously, this is at the end of the show. This is where the dogs are crowned. Who's the best, and who's second, and who's third. And the thing is, obviously, at this point of the show, you're going to have the maximum amount of people watching the screen. Most people's attention will be on that center stage, and this kind of activist, doing this kind of protest, does it have the desired effect in terms of creating that stir, or does it not actually do anything at all. I think the dogs want to say a little something.
The dogs don't like the dog show.
Well, that speaks magnitude. The dogs don't like the dog show. But what do you think? Do you think it has an effect? Do you think it makes any difference?
I don't think it makes any difference because if people are gonna watch it, they're not gonna listen to what Peter has to say anyway. So
Yeah.
I mean,
do you think the people that are watching it are actually part of the problem?
I think the part of the problem are the people that are abusing the animals that are doing it. The people that want to win so badly that they're abusing their animals just to get them to do what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. But is there a better way to make this kind of show happen? I mean, in the sense of like, are people more inclined to watch something which they will personally feel has more, I don't know what the word is, but has, it's more fakery, it's more well brushed, more cleaner looking. Is that what drives people to watch Crufts over maybe like Snuffs?
I'm not sure, really.
Tara's not sure. We're gonna end this with little Crazy Hole. This is her little topic that she wanted to talk about. I'll bring the question to you, Crazy. What do you think? Do you think there's a better way that this kind of show can happen? Because me personally, my take is that what this show represents is the people who are watching it, the people who are participating in. Because if no one watched the show, it wouldn't exist. Because they wouldn't make any money. They wouldn't generate anything. I mean, they have Pedigree Chum as one of the biggest sponsors there, and I think they've got another. I think they've got Butcher's Delight or some shit. I don't know. Dog food, which is sponsoring them as well. But would they have that level of sponsorship? Would they have that kind of mass appeal if it didn't have the level of viewership? Is the viewers partly to blame for what's going on?
Well, I believe that, as well as it being the dogs and the owners bringing in the entertainment, it is partly to do with the publicity. The more publicity you get, the more popular you get, and some people, some people have probably been watching it for years, and then they think, oh, I want to do it now because they've seen what they've seen on TV. It's probably partly to do with the entertainment of the dogs, but then also it's got to be partly to do with the publicity and how it's been publicized.
Yeah.
Because what I've seen sometimes on their adverts, they'll show the good part of Crufts. They don't ever show the bad side.
Yeah.
The only time that they show bad sides is when something happens.
Okay. Well, that's a very interesting comment to make there. I just want to say a quick shout out to a couple of guys who just joined us on the stream. Obviously, Brian Lloyd, Holly, is tomorrow PS4 online or story mode? Tomorrow we're online, Brian. Just in case you didn't realize, the schedule is in the description of every single video. And also, big shout out goes out to The Fizz. Hello from South Dakota. Welcome, South Dakota, to the stream. Hopefully, if you are interested in the conversation that we're having, don't forget, guys, be sure to drop your comments live, and we will talk about them if they are relevant to the topic that we're on at the moment. If you have missed the segment, then please do not comment irrelevant stuff, because we might not retouch on it. We might not have time, as the show has an hour and a half booking time. So please try and bear that in mind as you're watching the show. Also, Elijah James says it keeps stopping on me. It's probably buffering rate. It happened to me once already. I've seen it already. So just refresh the page if it freezes on you, because it's just a buffering video coming in. because obviously I send it out quite a high resolution, and obviously for YouTube to receive it and then for you guys to watch it, it can have a slight delay, and it also may need to have just gets a bit of time to buffer itself. Also, the Devil's Lair just jumped into the YouTube channel as well. What's up, dude? Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, if you want to get involved, with the conversation, please be sure to drop your comments down below to the relevant topics that we're going to be talking about. But moving on from the Crufts scandal, we're moving straight forward to the Russian scandal. That's right. We couldn't get very far from Russia, but it looks like Russia is next in line. So Russian spy fighting for life after being poisoned by unknown substance in Salisbury. So basically, this story came out in 6th of March 2018, and this basically is about what happened with that Russian spy who actually was poisoned. And they suspect foul play from the Russians themselves, who are actually delivering most of their spies who are actually abroad, either in the UK, the US, or even other parts of Europe, who are sort of trying to play two sides of a story. So they're giving out information and then trying to stay within the country that they're in, because they don't want to return back to Russia. Basically are being killed. And this is the story that was reported by the Telegraph, and I'm just going to play this video for you guys just to get an idea of what we are talking about. So any relevant questions that you may have, or any particular opinion that you may have, please be sure to drop them down below. I'll make sure to voice them if they are of relevance to the conversation. So listen out for this. This is quite interesting stuff. So that's just a quick little brief on what happened with the Russian scandal. And basically, there was surgical Skripal. I don't know if I'm saying Sergi Skripal, 66, was in intensive care after being exposed to a mysterious substance as he sat on a bench in the center of Salisbury. A 33-year-old woman who was with him is also in critical condition. Both had collapsed and were unconscious when they were discovered. Reports suggest Cole Skripal had recently gone to the police, claiming he was fearing for his life. The incident comes a little over a decade after the murder of Alexander Litvinenko, the former Russian agent who was poisoned by the radioactive polonium in a London hotel. And if you guys don't know who that was, it's the guy who I'm using in the thumbnail. He was actually poisoned in hospital, and he actually died from it in the hospital, because he was apparently leaking information about Russia to other nations. Also, Colonel Skripal, 66, a former Russian intelligence agent with the FSB, was jailed in Moscow for spying for Britain, who had arrived in the UK in 2010 as part of a prisoner exchange. Anne Chapman, a Russian-born secret agent who had acquired British citizenship and who was detained by US authorities, was sent back to Russia along with 9 other agents. Litvinenko's widow, Marina Litvinenko, told the Telegraph last night, "It looks similar to what happened to my husband, but we need more information. We need to know the substance. Was it radioactive?" So basically, there's a massive scandal with this in terms of what's been going on. And this is Sergei Skripal, the spy who with the Louis Vuitton bag. He was the guy who actually got killed. And he was 66 when he died alongside. And basically, they were both found in Salisbury, and both had poison of some sort. And what they're trying to do is link it to what kind of intelligence that was being dropped, and whether Russia now are going out to kill all of their secret agents, as it were, their double agents, who are giving information about what's happening in Russia to either the UK, the US, or any other nation within the European Union, like France, Germany, Denmark, and Belgium. So it's a very, very interesting topic. It's a very interesting times. There is so much information about this at the moment because, for example, on Monday night, police said in Zizi's restaurant, which was close to where Skripal and the woman were found, was closed in connection with the incident following consultation with Public Health England, suggesting one or both of them may have dined there beforehand. So there is a lot of controversy around what kind of issues, what kind of poison they may have been given, and the kind of effects that it may have had on the actual victims. And also Garry Kasparov, the former chess world champion and high-profile critic of Russia's leader, tweeted after the UK's pathetic response to Livinkio's assassination with polonium in London, why wouldn't Putin do it again? So there's a lot of call to action in terms of what's been going on. I mean, even with Russia alleged that Colonel Skripal had been paid $100,000 by MI6 in exchange for passing them the identities of Russian secret agents operating in Europe, and he was branded a traitor and as a disgrace. And there was a lot of news released, even in Russia. They were releasing the news as if like there was. And this is a picture of Miss Chapman. This is the lady who died alongside him. She was 36. She was married in England to her husband and had lived in London, had been arrested on spying in the US in 2010. The spies were swapped at Austria's Vienna airport in scenes reminiscent of exchanges from the Cold War. And basically, you know, this is the guy who died, I think, about a decade ago now. He died in 2006, Litvinenko, who actually was poisoned, and he died in the UK from a radioactive poison that basically killed him from the inside out. And is this I mean, we hear about this kind of stuff all the time, and we see this kind of trend in movies from time to time, and it's kind of weird in terms of what is the current position with all of these international diplomats that are about in the world. And obviously there are Russian agents who are in the UK, who are in America, who are in Europe, and they are acting as double agents. And what's happening is that a lot of people have you mentioned Katy Perry yet? Nope, Katy Perry hasn't come up yet. I know everyone's waiting for that. I've pushed that right to the back. But basically, with these Russian agents that are everywhere, there's been a lot of controversy with the Donald Trump issues, with the election process in the US, with the election process in the UK, who's been using their powers to kind of change things, to manipulate public opinion, to get certain candidates up, and so on and so forth. And also with these double agents who are actually reporting on behalf of a country like the US or the UK, even though they're from Russia, and they're reporting about what's happening in Russia behind the doors, it kind of makes things a little bit interesting on that respect. So what I want to do really is kind of bring I'll bring Tara Katy first into this, in the sense of what is her. I mean, the thing is, in America there's a big issue with Russia and the US anyway, especially at the moment. Everything's very, very heated. It's either within Russia or North Korea. And the thing is, the question really is, do you think that this kind of that Putin basically is sending out secret agents to different parts of the world to find the agents that are there from Russia and basically make them silent, in order to kind of stop them from spreading any more information about the other agents that are in these other countries, that are double agents working on behalf of Russia? Take care, Elijah. Oh, is Tara there? She is there.
She's silent.
She's silent. Okay, I'll come to you, Crazy. I'll come to you as your mic's on. I'll come to you. Same question to you. What do you think? What's the Russia scandal all about?
Well, to be honest, if you're trying to silence people, then, because you don't want people to know, then there's got to be seriously something more serious and more deafening than what people suspect is going on. You know, they're trying to make some sort of diversion from the real issues that are going on that the public don't know about.
Yeah.
They're trying.
I mean, the thing is, there's an inquiry which is ongoing about the death of Alexander Prepfilinshi, a Russian whistleblower who fled to the UK after lifting the lid on a $230 million tax fraud by corrupt Russian government officials. This is money that they've been spending in the UK or in the US or in Europe to manipulate the market in terms of votes, in terms of voting systems. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that a lot of people are not aware of. And, is Russia trying to take back control of the manipulation that they have on markets? Because Russia is, people don't realize this, especially people who don't live in Europe, but Russia is a very, very powerful country, and people don't realize how powerful they are. In the whole of Europe, they control about 80% of the gas supply to Europe, mainland Europe. And if they wanted to turn off the gas, everyone would be fucked, because no one has gas. We have gas that's imported from other countries, but no one gets gas more than from Russia, because they have it in their country. They are a supplier, they are a manufacturer of natural gas. And that kind of money's one thing, but having a resource like that is something else. And because Russia's so vast and so big, they can do things like fracking without having to cause too much problem to local communities and so on and so forth. So their supply is never ending. It's not depleting. They're always finding new sources. And they are supplying Europe, the UK, parts of America with gas, with natural gas. And next time you switch on the stove or you put your central heating on, a lot of that probably came from Russia, amongst other countries, because they are one of the largest distributors of gas, natural gas. The thing is, do you think because of their market influence that they are taking these kind of steps to kind of stop people knowing the level of influence that they have in the world? Because it would seem otherwise maybe the politicians, which we know are corrupt to a certain degree, are more corrupt than what they make out to be.
Yeah, I do believe so. I do believe that they're trying to swerve their way around and trying to keep people from saying any more shit that they don't want people to know about. So,
you keep cutting. You keep cutting in and out.
Yeah, no, is that better?
Yes, better. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, I believe that they're corrupting things. They're keeping the people. Basically, they're keeping the people that know shit out of it. They're trying to kill them off. They're trying to shut them down, basically. And the people that know shit, they're probably being held at ransom and trying to say, listen, don't say fuck all, basically.
No, I think you're right. Exodus, what do you think about this whole Russia topic? Obviously living in the United States of America, you guys have got quite a big understand. Well, you have a big there's always news about Russia in America, I know that. But what do you think about this particular scandal that's going on? Do you think Russians have got quite a big grasp on the US, and maybe the leaders aren't letting you guys know how much influence Russia does have on the way things are run in the US.
I think, I think Russia probably does have a big grasp, but nobody wants to tell us because us and Russia have like a strong past ever since like the Cold War. Us Americans are always been like forced to hate Russians. So if we found out that like a lot of our government is influenced by Russia, I think everybody would go like ape shit crazy on just everybody in the government position.
Yeah. No, I mean the thing is, I think that's a very interesting comment you've made there, because I think a lot of people, I mean, even in the UK, I think a lot of people will be quite. I think a lot of people will be quite shocked to know how much influence Russia has on world markets, with the fact that they have such a huge natural resource, which is why Putin has such, I guess, has like a superpower sort of way about him. I mean, they're another country that has nuclear weapons that no one's really asking them about, and no one's really questions them on their actions. Yeah, they do shit, and people, they raise an eyebrow and they say, "Yo, you need to do this about it, you need to do that about it," but no one really takes any of it seriously. People can't. No one can actually say to Russia, "Look, I'm gonna fuck you up now," and that's it. It's not the way it works. They have, it's like dealing with the mafia. They are very, very, they don't really care. I mean, it's all about them and nobody else, and I think I mean, the thing is, the conversation is bigger than us. It's bigger than us four. And I don't know if Tara's back in the conversation. Tara, are you back in now? No, she's still not here. She's still not here. Okay. The thing is, we're gonna have to move on from this topic. I mean, it's a big topic. If you guys have anything you want to add to the conversation, please be sure to drop a comment down below. We'll be sure to talk about it a bit more if you have anything relevant to say. But really, we made this as a sort of information because I think there's a lot of things going on with Russia that a lot of people aren't paying attention to, and it's not really. You shouldn't really pay too much attention to the scandals as such, but you got to think about why is a superpower like Russia have such heavy influence in your country. I mean, any country you look at, they have got a lot of take and a lot of weight in what they do. I mean, you hear about Russian investment all the time. I mean, there's you just look at Greece. Okay, Greece is literally got. You have Russian gangsters live there. All the big yachts are owned by them. So the thing is, there's a lot that they can do that a lot of people don't see. And I think the more people kind of are waking up to going beyond the propaganda and looking at actually what kind of influence Russia could have on the world, it's not to scare people. It's more to kind of like make sure like you're aware that your government is telling you one thing, but to be honest with you, they are taking the backhand. $230 million in tax fraud. Okay, that's not a small number. That's a lot of money. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. But we're going to move swiftly on to the next topic because I know everybody has been waiting for me to talk about this one. Okay, the Washington Post put out a post about this young man from Ohio. A student was suspended after staying in class during the walkouts. Here's what actually happened. This is the young man with his certificate. He was very proud of it. That he got a certificate for missing out on the 17-minute march. And the story goes a little bit like this. A high school student has found himself at the center of a political controversy after an online post about his suspension for staying in class during the National Student School walkout went viral. But the story isn't exactly true. Jacob Shoemaker, great name by the way, a senior at Hillard Davidson High School in Hillard, Ohio, was in fact suspended, but not because he chose not to join his classmates and the hundreds of thousands of students across the country who walked out of their classrooms to protest gun violence in the wake of the Florida school shooting that left 17 people dead. It was because he didn't go to the designated area of the school where the non-protesters were supposed to be and instead stayed by himself in a classroom. That's right. This young boy, okay, this chubby little white American, okay, from Ohio, the poor sucker that he is, okay, he literally got suspended from school because he didn't make his way to the right location for those who did not want to be involved in the protest. I mean, the thing is, the simple thing for me with this story is, how is that even fair? Okay, and the thing is, I want to bring Exodus into this because I know Exodus is going to have some passionate words to say about this particular topic. And the thing is that Exodus, how is this fair? How is that fair? He didn't make his way to the right location on campus, so then he gets suspended from school for staying in class. What's wrong? What is wrong with the school system, dude?
It's cool. It's really fucked up because if they're not doing the walkout, they should just have everybody else just stay in the class and learn. Not people.
That's what I thought.
Like
I thought that'd be the normal thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Me personally, I've never had to deal with like a school walkout. The only time we've had a like walkout during class was during like a fire drill or some shit.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah, but that's everybody. But that's everybody, though, isn't it? That's everybody. I mean, I think that was pretty. I thought it was pretty bad. I mean, the thing is that. I mean, that can't be right. I mean, you can't get suspended from school for not making your way to the right location. You know.
That's like.
I mean, that's. It just doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest with you.
That's like suspending somebody from school for doing their schoolwork.
Exactly.
It's not right. It's fucked up.
It's totally wrong. Crazy Holes, what do you think? Is this kid a little bit unlucky to be given a suspension from school because he didn't make his way to the right location?
To be honest, the teacher who left the classroom and brainwashed students to skip a class and make a political stance on public school property should be the one who should be fucking suspended.
Yeah. Yeah, what? Because guns kill people, right?
Exactly.
Not people kill people, guns kill people. Yeah. An inanimate object kills people.
Exactly.
There we go.
And
yeah, go on.
The thing is as well, you know, the ones who walked out, the ones who deviated the norm. If the kids had skipped school on any other day, they would have been punished and probably more than likely suspended like he was.
Yeah.
So
no, but do you think it's fair that he got suspended? I mean, all the kid did wrong was not to leave his classroom and go to the area of the school where those who were not gonna protest were meant to be. That's what he got suspended for. Not for the fact that he didn't take part in the protest. The fact that he stayed in class rather than going to this other area that was meant for kids who are not protesting were meant to be. That's what he got suspended for. I mean, is that even right? Is that even fair?
No, it's not fair. Of course it's not fair.
I mean, I thought the place for a student to stay would be in their classroom if they're not going to get part. I remember back in the day when I was in school and I didn't want to take part in some assembly or some shit. My parents would say, my teacher would say, just stay in the class. They wouldn't say, we're going to take all the children now who don't want to take part in this assembly to another area of the school. I mean, how does that make any sense?
No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. But anyway, there was this video that came out anyway from the Washington Post, which I'm going to play for you guys now. Gives you a little bit more insight into what happened with this poor little sod. Okay, poor soul. Okay, so be sure to listen out to this because this was quite interesting, and it was interesting at the same time. It made me realize how dumb school has become. Okay, I thought it was getting worse, but it's got really bad. I mean, literally. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Just check this out, guys.
I'm so proud of them. This is an amazing community, and I think that together we can inspire the rest of the country to take action.
We've had enough of the thoughts and prayers, enough of politicians putting votes in money before lives. Enough of the NRA. Enough wondering whether or not we're next. It's enough. Enough is enough. Enough. Hey, ho, ho. Gun violence has got to go.
One of the biggest things we have to do is keep it in people's faces. Whatever it takes, we have to keep it alive for the memory of the people who were lost. It's been a long time since students have done this. It's the youth that's empowered, and they're going to make it happen. Watch.
And it's time for Congress to listen. Our message is clear. No more silence. End gun violence. No more silence. End gun violence.
So anyway, no more silence and gun violence. Yet this young boy from Ohio gets suspended for refusing to leave his classroom during this protest. So that was that topic. Is Miss Tara K back yet? Tara, you back?
I am.
She's back. Tara, what's your little take on this? Tara's back, everybody. Welcome back, Tara. Welcome back.
Hey.
Right. what's your little take on this particular story with this poor little sod? Okay, I mean, I'm not joking. It's a sad time when this little chubby child, okay, doesn't get suspended for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, what is that, Tara? I mean, what is school becoming?
I think it's ridiculous. I mean, he was in a classroom. He didn't do anything wrong. He shouldn't have gotten suspended.
And I mean, in the sense of in the state of Ohio, obviously there's different states and different laws in different states. But I mean, they're saying like the kid should have gone to a designated area for those students who are not protesting. But yet there is such a mass voice for the protest. There is such a mass voice for people saying that, you know, there should be protests, that everyone should be protesting against gun violence. But the thing is, what people aren't protesting about, which I find really fascinating, is that people kill people and inanimate objects don't kill anybody. You know, if you put the guns in the wrong, you put a gun in a cop's hand, you shoot somebody, one person will say it's a good thing, someone else will say it's a bad thing, and then, you know, some other citizen does exactly the same thing and everybody will say it's a bad thing, it's a good thing, depending on the scenario, depending on the situation. But you know, it's the people that actually do the action. It's got nothing to do with the actual weapon itself. Personally, I mean, Tara, what do you think about this whole protest that's happening with the banning of firearms, maybe in America, or limitation of magazine sizes and clip sizes and God knows what else they're trying to put forward? Being in America yourself, where's your take on this? Where do you stand with all this protest that's going on with the current situation?
I honestly don't see the point in protesting against guns because, like you pointed out, it's not the guns that are killing people, it's the people that are using the guns.
Yeah. I mean, do you think getting rid of the guns is going to fix the problem? Surely people will just use other forms of weapons, right?
Yeah, there was a case a few years ago where a student stabbed 20 other students with a knife and killed a couple of them. So it's not just
time to ban kitchen knives then. Time to protest against kitchen knives. Right, that's it. I'm starting a petition today. 100,000 signatures. Let's do it.
I mean, come on. They're just going to find something else. You're going to ban baseball bats.
It's getting ridiculous. I mean, Exodus, what are you saying? What are you saying about this?
I was saying there was also a guy like a week or two ago that was like bombing different places in Texas.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Austin bombings, yeah.
Taking away the gun isn't going to change anything. Like, there's other weapons people can use.
Exactly. No, I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, Crazy Holes, you moving to the United States of America, do you feel safe or do you feel like they need to ban those weapons?
I
I
mean,
look, banning them is just gonna make people just illegally get them. Banning isn't gonna do anything.
Yeah. Same question to Crazy.
I believe that, you banning them, you're just broadening the variety of weapons, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, you ban the next thing is going to come along, and it's going to keep doing the repetitive and repetitive.
Well, Overkill 7's put in the comments of the chat that it's not safe. If you'd like to elaborate on that, would be great to hear from you about why you think it's not safe. I mean, like we were just saying a couple of seconds ago, is that you ban guns, people will just find other ways of killing people. Really, I mean, there's millions of things you can turn into a weapon. I mean, just look at prison life. Just look at jails. Okay, jails are apparently the most safest place someone could be in. Yet people find ways to make weapons in there all the time. From knives, from using sporks, and God knows what else, tin foil. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. If there's a way to commit crime, people will commit the crime. Removing inanimate objects doesn't solve the problem. The problem is with the people. It's the people's mindset that needs to change. And I think this is, I always try to bring this back to what is generally happening in the world, is that we, like Tara saw the other day when we were on the live stream, and we had some pretty brutal people come into the podcast, and the kind of language that they were using and the way they were describing certain things, it kind of sets the premise of what is kind of like messed up in the world, in the sense that we are no longer recognizing each other as human beings. More, we're segregating each other and separating each other out by saying, oh, you're from this state and you're from that country, or you're from that state and you're from a different part of the world or something, and the more we start to walk away from that and realize that we actually are all human beings and we all have difficult times, difficult problems, and if we were there to help each other get through these tough times, we would be a lot better than what we are right now, where we're using these inanimate objects to cause harm, to cause fear, whether it be, because obviously if someone's just robbed the store and they're running from the police, they're in fear of their life. Same as the person who was just stealing something from the store, they were in fear of their life. So it's like a cat and mouse game all the time. And I think, a lot of the times it's quite difficult to kind of nail this down. But the important thing is to get away from the stigmatization, from the thing that differentiates us, that makes us different. We need to look at what makes us the same. And the simple sort of way that I always try to establish this is, if I cut myself, I will bleed the same color blood as anybody else. And I think the closer we get to that point, the more we'll realize that we're not that much different from everybody else. Brian Lloyd also puts in the comment section, I understand you're a Muslim, so probably not, but if there's any LGBT subject coming to podcast, let me know. I'd be more than happy to join. No, I mean, that's a great topic to bring up, Brian. I mean, it would be great to have you on the show, especially if I was to talk about that particular subject. We're really just running on what is happening within the media, just to try to digest and trying to bring a sort of normal human being perspective on it, because the media does a certain thing to the news, and I think it's important for all of us to get together, whether you're watching the podcast, whether you're as a guest on the podcast, to kind of voice your opinion, because it shows the normal human being side of things, because we don't get to hear enough from each other. We don't get to hear enough from normal people about all of these different scenarios and all these different situations that are coming up, and we get fed and bombarded by the news media industry, by this machine that just keeps regurgitating all of this information, and it creates these barriers. We go outside, 1 minute they could say, black people are like this, or Hispanic people are like that, or white people are like this, and you start to create these stereotypes, these thoughts of what this person is like. For example, with the LGBT communities is another thing. I mean, you say that out, you put that out there, and people will straight away. Some people will have a specific way of looking at things. People who are religious, people who are not religious, people who are atheists. You know, you get all types of people having their own views and opinions on certain things. But what's important is that, yeah, we all have views, we all have opinions. We may all have a personal sort of take on something, but at the same time, we've got to understand there has to be tolerance. We have to be able to tolerate that other person's difference, that other person's sort of thing that separates them from everybody else. That's what makes us unique as human beings. We're not all the same. And I think this is the fundamental thing, is to bring it back to being human. And once you get back to being human, you see everybody the same. You don't see anybody different, whether they're gay, whether they're straight, whether they're men or women, black or white. It makes no difference, because you treat them as you see them. If they are evil when you see them, you treat them the same way in return. If they're nice to you when you meet them, you'll treat them the same. And this platform is just a way for us to voice these different opinions. Also, I just wanted to bring up this just continuation of this particular incident that happened with the Ohio student who got suspended for failing to join the Walkout Speaks. On the Fox News Insider, they I know Fox News is a little bit of a weird news network, but it's the best place I found this story. He actually got to speak on the news. So here's that story for you guys. Turn your headphones up, turn your speakers up so you guys can hear it nice and clear. And once it's finished, obviously, please do drop your comments in terms of what you think about the story that we just heard about this Ohio student. Here it is. In stereo.
A school senior from Ohio suspended this week for staying in a classroom instead of participating in his school's walkout or going to the alternative study hall. He says he was protesting the options the school gave him because he didn't want to choose a side. Here to explain, Hilliard-Davidson High School student Jacob Shoemaker. Jacob, explain what happened, why you made that choice.
Well, what happened is they presented the situation of the national walkout in such a way to where it really seemed like they were forcing me to make a choice, a political choice in the classroom. And to me, it didn't feel right to have to make a decision like that in the safety of my school. So what I chose was to stay in my classroom and continue to work on schoolwork.
And what did the teacher tell you? How did the officials at the school intervene? Because you felt like if you walked out, then you were protesting essentially the Second Amendment, potentially. And then if you go to the study hall, then you are pro-gun, and you just stayed in the classroom. But how did the school officials handle it?
Well, the officials handled it by they were very respectful about the entire thing. And I want to make that very clear. But they the way they presented the situation to me, I didn't like that there was a choice. I didn't like that I was going to have to decide whether I was, anti-gun violence and pro-gun control, or if I was to stay inside and be pro-gun violence, effectively. And it didn't feel right to have to make that decision. And the officials at the school, they were nice about it. They just did what they had to do.
But they suspended you for a day, right?
Yeah, they suspended me for an entire day and the rest of the school day that the incident occurred.
We reached out to the school. I want to read this really quickly. They were unable to provide a spokesperson this morning, but they did issue this statement to us. It reads in part, as a district, we are required to supervise students during the school day. We do not leave students unattended in classrooms. This is the same practice our district implements when students opt out of other school programs or activities. We provide an alternative supervised location. Were the students protesting and walking out? Were their teachers with them at this anti-gun violence rally, anti-Second Amendment rally? Were there teachers with these students?
There were teachers with these students, yes. They were escorted outside and they were supervised by some of the staff and a very large police presence in the area.
What do you think happens in the future, Jacob, in terms of, or Jake, in handling these basically student decisions or students wanting to speak out? Do you think anything changes at your school, in your school district?
I feel like, you know, it's important to really relay the true message here, and that is that students should be able to make a choice and not be forced into a situation by the officials in their school district. It's really unfortunate that my situation happened the way that it did, in which I was put in a position where I was forced to make a political choice in the safety of the classroom. It shouldn't happen. It's like abortion. If this whole protest was about abortion, I promise you that the situation would be handled very different. And it's like if you were to have students go outside who were, you know, protesting abortion, and students that were sensitive to it stay inside the building, you'd be pro or anti-abortion. It's the same thing.
No problem, Brian.
Control here is just the topic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if any school districts would support a anti-abortion, pro-life rally and actually escort students to a rally. Maybe that's happened in the past. I can't recall one instance. We will see if that happens. How did the kids react when you got back to school? Your friends?
Oh, I've had very mixed reactions. I've had people I've never spoken to before come up and praise me in the hallways, but I've heard a lot of awful things said about me behind my back.
Like what?
And on the topic, I've heard people just say that I am just this awful person who's just a disgusting human being who's so pro-gun and disrespectful to the lives lost in Florida. But the thing about that is they've gone and they've politicized that situation.
Right.
It's not a political event. It's a tragedy. It's like a moment of silence or something similar to that would have been just fine. For 9/11, we have a moment of silence in the entire building. But this is ridiculous.
Jake, it was good to see you. Jake Shoemaker. Thank you so much.
So that is what the young student said. I mean, it was nice to actually hear him talk about what had happened during his walkout. So he was suspended for the remaining of that day and the day after, and then he was allowed back to school the day after that. And I mean, it just goes to show again. I mean, with that particular school, that their position is that they don't allow students to remain in classrooms on their own because it has to be a supervised thing and what have you. And this is why they had the designated area for him to go to, and he protested that he didn't want to go to that area, that there was no reason for him to leave his classroom, to go to wherever. He could have stayed in his classroom and continue studying. And I think it's a valid point. It's a valid thing that's happened, just to kind of show the difference in what people think about the actual incident. And my phone is going crazy right now, so I'm just going to mute it because I can hear it going off. I know you guys can hear it going off as well in the background. We've had 12 retweets just to let you guys know what's just happened. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting topic. I mean, the thing is, hearing the student, I mean, Crazy Holes, hearing the student talk about his personal opinion on the situation, does it change anything for you? Does it add anything, take away anything?
Well, personally, I agree with pretty much everything said. You know, I agree. You know, if you don't believe in the protest, then fine. You know, I'd rather stay in the classroom, be out there.
Do you think it was a bit ignorant for him to stay in the classroom, considering they had another place for him to go to that was supervised? Where they had teachers there to supervise the kids that weren't taking part in the protest. Do you think he should have just followed in suit, or do you think that what he's saying, like he was forced to take a political sort of position where he don't want to be involved in the political process?
I'd probably say, yeah, probably they were trying to force him, but everybody has their own opinion, and they're allowed to spread across their own opinion, really.
Yeah.
So
what about I mean, what about you, Exodus? I mean, has this taken away anything or added anything to your particular position on the current situation? Oh, Exodus has muted his mic, and he's deafened himself as well. Okay, we'll come over to Tara. We're having some technical difficulties with Exodus at the moment, so we'll come over to Tara. Tara, after hearing that little video and the young chap talking about his particular position on what happened, what's your personal take on? Has it changed anything? Has it taken away anything? Added anything? And do you think it's fair that he wasn't forced to kind of take a political position as he's stating that he had to?
Well, if I was in his position, I probably would have done the same thing because I myself don't care about politics at all whatsoever.
That's all right.
So,
yeah.
I probably would have done the same thing that he did. Because to me, I would have felt like I was forced to make a decision, and I don't think you should feel that you're forced to make a decision like that.
I mean, you could even put it on the sense of it's a form of bullying to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, it's like they were, like, the teachers were like, you have to do this, and if not, blah blah blah. But it's, I don't know. Even if they said you have to go to the designated room, but he didn't feel like he should have to choose a place, and he just wanted to stay. But when I was in school, like, which was a long time ago, we weren't always supervised in a room, and I know a lot of students now, the kids I used to babysit, teachers leave them in rooms all the time by themselves if they run to go do something. So him being left in a room by himself really shouldn't have been a big deal. Not enough to suspend him. I think they're just trying to prove a point that he didn't do what they wanted him to do, so they're suspending him for a day. So yeah, it's a way of bullying. It's a form of bullying. So
I mean, the thing is, I do feel for what he's saying in the sense that if he didn't choose to go for the protest, they were making him choose to not be a protester. So they're making him stand on one side or another side of the fence because he wants to stand on the fence, but they're not letting that happen.
Right.
And I think that is a bit unfair because, you know, if you don't have a particular political opinion on a particular situation, then yeah, I think he makes a valid point in the sense that he did feel kind of like if he didn't choose one side, he was choosing another side, and that kind of puts him in a difficult position because then, you know, everybody knows school is difficult as it is for young people, and especially under peer pressure and with what we spoke about on the previous podcast. I mean, if you guys haven't checked that out, be sure to check that out on the bullying subject. And you know, this is just another way to alienate more kids within the school system.
Yeah.
Exodus, are you ready and waiting to take on this question? After hearing this young man.
The last question, my mom called saying that we got a new apartment.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good news. Congratulations on the new apartment. Congratulations.
Thank you. Anyway, what's the question?
So the question is, after watching that little clip of this young man from Ohio, does it take away or add anything to your personal position where you were a few minutes ago? And also, do you feel like his opinion on that he was kind of pushed or forced into making a political stance where he's not politically driven on the Second Amendment? What do you think? Where's your opinion on that?
I mean, I'm still pretty much the same. I still think that it's fucked up that the school suspended him, and it just adds even more to it for the fact that they were trying to force him to do something that he didn't really want to do, which is like you can't force a kid of that age to do anything. Maybe if it was in like elementary school, it'd be easier because they're more manipulable, but a high school student has a mind of their own. So
And I think it kind of, like I was saying, sorry, it kind of briefs on the subject of bullying in the sense of he's kind of forced to be on one side of the fence or another side of the fence. I mean, we know how difficult school can be for kids, especially nowadays. You know, that would have caused. I mean, he reported himself that some kids were saying certain things about him and other kids were saying other things about him. That's already created that sort of that thing that we're trying to get rid of, really, which is to try and bring it back to the human level. And I mean, do you think the school acted in a little bit of a bullying manner to kind of to force him to take that position?
Yeah, I feel like them trying to force him and just saying that for not doing it, just added, just like that's pretty much like force people to like bullying and being like, oh, you don't care about all the lives I lost, but like if you think about it, like it wasn't like there was nothing he could do about it, so it's not like it's not like him protesting is gonna change anything. It's up to the government, not to students that are in high school.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely get what you're saying there. Don't forget, guys, if you want to add anything to the conversation, please be sure to drop your comments down below in the chat. If you're watching us live, please be sure to let us know what you're thinking and what you're feeling about the current situation and the current topic that we're on. If you're watching this video on playback, also please be sure to drop your comments down below. I love to read them to know exactly what you guys are thinking about these particular situations that are going on around the world and at the moment focused in America. But we're going to move on swiftly. We're going to move on to something which Crazy Holes wanted us to talk about, and I think Tara wants a little bit of this pie as well. And that was on obviously on the 8th of March 2018. It was International Women's Day. And how the event began and why the fight for gender equality is still necessary. So this is a topic I just thought I'd bring up. Crazy Holes told me about this, and she thought, she didn't understand. There's a lot of talk about International Women's Day, but it was quite interesting hearing from two prominent ladies who are involved with the live streams, involved with the podcast, about they didn't actually understand themselves what International Women's Day was about. What is it to celebrate? What is it to represent? And does it represent their personal opinion? And just to bring on a couple of things that happen on International Women's Day, is a worldwide event that celebrates women's achievements from the political to the social, while challenging for gender equality. It has been observed since the early 1900s and is now recognized each year on this day, March 8th. It is not affiliated with any other group, but brings together governments, women's organizations, corporations, and charities. The day is being marked around the world with arts performances, talks, rallies, networking events, conferences, and marches. So, girls, all you girls out there, especially Miss Crazy Holes, what is your particular opinion on International Women's Day?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, you have feminists, of course, who absolutely hate all men.
Yeah, feminazi. Yep, you know about them. Yep.
And
I heard about them.
They're just.
I mean, this was your topic, Crazy. So tell the viewers about why you wanted me to bring this up on the podcast.
I'd say feminism has failed in bringing equality into men and women. In my opinion, it's all about supremacy, and more importantly, it's failed for men. Our school system is fucked up against men when they're boys.
Yeah.
Teachers are mostly women, because men are frowned upon around children due to like sexist standards, or the whole thing with children. And the military, they have seen feminist appeal against the selective service, which none of that has the headline. family and divorce courts. It's all about no matter how terrible the woman is in a relationship or abusive, they can leech off
get custody.
They can leech off the husband and the father through nonsense such as because they don't give out child support.
Yeah.
So
no, I hear that. I mean, there's a couple of comments dropped by Brian Lloyd. He says, as a gay boy, I have huge respect for women, totally for women's equality in work and society. Also, there's a difference between feminist and what people call a feminazi. So Brian is very passionate about this particular topic. Maybe we should have had him on the podcast. Could have had you and Crazy Holes going at it. But basically, I mean, hey, there's nothing stopping you, dude. I mean, you're on the chat, so you can always type away on that, no problem at all. I'll be more than happy to read out your comments. I mean, the thing is, Tara, what do you think? Yes. International Women's Day. Do you get it? Do you understand what it's for? What does it stand for? Does Marlene have any opinion on this?
She has a lot of opinions on it, honestly. We actually discussed it. But I honestly, I don't know. I don't get it because we want equality. Why do we want a day for ourselves?
Okay.
Yeah, the woman thing.
So you think it should be an everyday thing?
Well, I think if you want equality, you don't need a day for yourself. You don't need a day to call your own.
Right. I mean, the thing is, there's no International Men's Day, is there?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the thing is that. I mean, we were talking about this extensively at one point. We had a massive discussion about this, and there's been a lot that's flown out here and there and everywhere. And I think, I mean, the difficulty is it's important that women get the recognition and the equality of what they contribute to society. But I think at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. Because you can get on one hand people saying all this great stuff, but on the other hand you'll get the opposite, where it only suits when it suits, as they say. So it only seems to work being fighting for women's equal rights when it suits the woman. Sometimes it seems to be the case, and when it doesn't suit it, they choose otherwise. And before I bring Exodus D in on this little conversation, Brian just dropped a comment in the chat. There's no International Men's Day because men have had the power for many generations, and women have been suppressed for so long. That is Brian's opinion. I'm gonna bring Exodus D back into the chat. Exodus, what's your take on International Women's Day? Do you get what it's about being a man?
As a very strong, independent white woman, I can say I appreciate it. No, all seriousness. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like, I don't, because as they were saying, if women want equality, why have a day to yourself? Why not just act like a normal, like, woman and not have like a specific day? Just work hard for what you want.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they this protest started in the 1900s, and it was brought about because in those days, I mean, a woman's position was was placed in the home, to bear children, to look after the home, and so on and so forth. But obviously, as women got into the workforce, especially after World War II, things changed drastically because the kind of the typical woman, if you want to put it that way, of somebody who would be at home cooking, cleaning, so on and so forth, and the man's the one who goes out being the breadwinner. This started having a little change, where more and more women were like, they don't want to be that woman where they're at home, where they're cooking, where they're cleaning, where they're just making children, and then the man just goes out to work and comes back whenever the hell he wants. It kind of changed, and women came up to a lot of issues when they tried to protest back in those days, for their equality in terms of what they would want, in terms of what they felt their value was, because they felt very undervalued. And especially things like domestic violence. I mean, the thing is, back in those days, men openly hit women to kind of show their dominance over that gender, and this is what they fought for back in those days. But I think coming to this era now where we're standing, I mean, you know, all the work that they've done is really important, and we're not going to shadow that in any way, shape, or form. But I think where we are standing at, the point that we're standing at today, for example, having a prime minister of the United Kingdom who's a female, having a prime minister of Germany who's also female, goes to show the how far things have come. But there's a lot of sacrifice. I think, to be my personal opinion, is women have to give up a lot more in order to be in that kind of position, whereas men don't, because we don't bear children, you know, we don't have these anxieties and emotions with certain things that come about on a monthly basis, and you girls know what I'm talking about. So the thing is that these things never play a part in our lives. We don't ever understand this stuff, you know, having to sit down and talk about our feelings. Men generally will just go out and just destroy the world. That's basically what we do. And women, they try to save everything. And that's their caring side, you know. I think what International Women's Day tries to represent is the fight that happened before to bring things to change. Where even up until today, there is a slight problem with the equality for men and women, with gender equality. But I think it's like I'm saying, with the double-edged sword. I think it's on both sides. It's not like women have to fight for their equality. It's men as well, because I think while the women are getting what they want in terms of equality, men are also being shunned at the same time. For example, things like domestic violence, things like suicide. I mean, suicide is much, much higher in men than it is in women. And I mean, is that because men can't handle things much better? It's not necessarily about whether men can handle something or can't handle something, or whether women bear burden better than men do. It's the thing that women do that men don't do, or haven't been encouraged to do, which is to talk when they are in difficulty, when they have problems, when they are struggling to, you know, with life, you know, in general. I mean, me and the wife were watching a program yesterday, 999 What's Your Emergency, and it's a very popular program in the UK, and this basically, there was a report like 50% of men in the UK will not report when they are feeling depressed, or talk to anyone, especially family members, about personal circumstance or problems that are causing them to go over the edge and commit suicide, which is a massive number. That's 50%. So out of 150 men can't actually talk about their personal feelings and their personal shortcomings. Brian also put in the comment section, it comes hand in hand with gay pride. Straight people don't understand why that is a necessity. It's for awareness mostly. So, you know, I mean, Brian's kind of touching on what I'm saying, to be honest with you, is that it's to kind of bring about the existence and the remembrance of what International Women's Day is about. It's about that change from the time when women were quite heavily oppressed to where we are now. Yes, Exodus, what is it you want to say?
943.
What?
Yeah, oh, I think he was talking to something.
I think he was talking to, he was talking to Island.
Yeah.
No, yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking to me. Yes, Crazy, what did you want to add to this?
Thing is, in my opinion, you have all these single mothers out there, you know, that are in desperate repair, you know, and the fathers leave them because they can't control whatever, whether cheating or you know, they leave their partners, husbands, boyfriends, whatever, due to abuse. But what you have to think of the other end of the string, what about all those single fathers that when the mum decides she can't be, when the mother decides that she wants to get up and leave because she can't handle it no more. Because the thing is, even though everybody everybody is all like, oh, single mother this, single mother that, oh, it's like, everybody's on single mother. But what about all the single dads out there that have to cope with kids every day, trying to deal with what a single mother would do?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to do with maybe where things come from. I think everyone's background and walk of life will have kind of an impact on where they stand with things. And I mean, Tara, is there any sort of lasting comments you want to make on the International Women's Day, topic? Oh, is she still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah,
she's still here.
I mean, I get it, but I still don't think that it needs to be like a big make. I don't think people need to make a big deal out of it. I mean, I understand. Like, if it was still back when everybody was fighting for equal rights, it would be different. But it's a different era now. I mean, it's not back then.
Yeah. I mean, do you think women have got plenty now and they're just being greedy?
Yeah, I think a lot of women are just being greedy. They want more and more and more. Things aren't good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you think they hold men accountable for the fact that they don't get these particular things?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right.
And that's coming from a woman.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Okay, well, Exodus, is there anything you want to add before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah, after those ones, like the word I'm looking at mainly, think about it now, is the word international, which means all around the world. And there are places in the Middle East and stuff where women are still just at home and stuff and not really like able to work and stuff.
No, I mean, you're definitely right there. You're definitely. I mean, we look at Saudi Arabia. I mean, you're talking about international. We talk about Saudi Arabia. I mean, in Saudi Arabia, I mean, I'm a Muslim guy, and I know how it is over there. I mean, they've just been allowed to let women drive over there. Yeah. I mean, we're in the 21st century. I mean, that goes to show you why, I guess to a certain degree, in countries where this has become prominent and it's taken its hold and it's made the appropriate changes and women feel comfortable, I guess what this is representing is still for those who aren't liberated, for those who are still oppressed, in those countries where they don't take this stuff as seriously, where they still are quite backwards with the way that they think. And I think Exodus makes a really important point there. Sorry, Exodus, carry on what you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying like there are places in the Middle East where like women like still can't leave the house or stuff without their husbands, and they have to have their husband's permission to do anything. And I'm like if anything, they're the one that need the Women's Day more than people out here.
Yeah.
They should have a day where they can just do whatever they want without having anybody say shit to them.
Okay. I mean, considering this was Crazy Hole's little topic, Crazy, I'll let you finish up. If there's anything you want to add or subtract from this particular topic, let us know. What is anything you wanna add or take away?
No, I don't think I have anything else to say.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, don't forget, guys. We do want to hear from you guys. If you guys are interested in this topic on International Women's Day, what it stands for, what it represents, do you feel for it? Do you understand it? Is it something which is just too far-fetched? Are women just barking up the wrong tree? Are they demanding way too much? Let us know in the comments down below of what your opinion is if you're watching us live, and if obviously you're watching us on playback, also drop those comments down below, because we'd love to retouch on this subject if important comments do come up. I like to kind of give people their due if they have a particular way of thinking about this particular subject. But we're going to move swiftly on to Brian's favorite topic, and obviously that is the Katy Perry scandal. The Independent reported on Katy Perry. That's right. The infamous pop star did something atrocious. She kissed an American Idol contestant, but he wasn't happy about it. I know a lot of guys would be like, heck yeah, but not for me. I raised it in a conversation, in a conservative family. I was raised in a conservative family, and I was uncomfortable immediately. So literally, he was not happy, this young contestant. If you guys didn't see it, here is the video just for you beautiful people. Sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy this little playback. It's funny. For me, it's funny, but you know there is a seriousness to this as well at the same time.
No, I've never been in a relationship.
Really?
I can't kiss a girl without being in a relationship.
Come here, bud.
No, wait, hold on.
Come here.
Come on.
Come here right now.
You can't
Come here right now. Come here.
Stop. What, on the cheek?
You didn't even make the smush sound.
Right, okay. Let me start over. Okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
So, that was the reported news from the Independent, and the kid actually hit the ground, which was terrible. I mean, he even closed his eyes to come in for this kiss, which I thought was an interesting thing that came up. My personal opinion on this particular topic is how. Hey, what's up, Nicholas Natvidad? Welcome back, dude. Thank you for joining us. Please be sure to slap that like and join in the conversation on the live podcast. Let us know what your opinions are on this particular subject that we're talking about today. So, yeah, Katy Perry, the infamous, beautiful blonde that she is, kissed an innocent contestant on American Idol who had never been kissed before. Literally, this young man has never ever puckered up the courage to kiss the right girl because he wants to find the one before he does it and wants it to be extra special. Okay, he wants to give that girl an extra special sloppy kiss that is completely virgin from anything he's ever had before. He doesn't want to perfect that technique. He wants to give it to her raw. So basically, Katy, on hearing this, Katy Perry thought it was absolutely hilarious to call the young man up to the stage and then to do this, which is obviously to kiss him without him actually clocking on to what's about to happen. To a certain degree, I think the kid was a little bit naive because I've seen this particular action done so many times on so many movies, but you know, he's an innocent kid, you know, involved in this, and I just want to start off by saying that I think it's quite disgusting and it's quite disturbing. I know I'm smiling about it, but I think at the same time it is quite a bad thing to show on national television. And I mean, it may seem innocent, it may seem jokey and fun and what have you, and I think we may be just blowing this out of proportion, but to be honest with you, just imagine this, okay? Just imagine this. Imagine this was Simon Cowell, okay? Simon Cowell. Everybody knows who that motherfucker is, okay? Imagine this was Simon Cowell kissing a 17 or 18-year-old young, beautiful girl who was a contestant who had never kissed a guy. How would the reactions be? What would people be saying about what is happening? You know, the kind of backlash that would be involved in a male doing the same actions would be horrific. Just to clarify a couple of things with this story, the guy was 19 years of age, had never kissed a girl before. Katy Perry on American Idol says he felt uncomfortable because he wanted his first kiss to be special. In an episode which aired at the weekend, Benjamin Glaze was asked, "Have you ever kissed a girl and liked it?" by fellow judge Luke Ryan, a reference to Perry's song "I Kissed a Girl." Wayne Glaze, a cashier from Oklahoma, responded, "I have never been kissed in a relationship, and I can't kiss a girl without being in a relationship." Perry leapt from her seat and said, "Come here right now," like the rapist that she is. And she said, first, she faced her cheek towards him, and he kissed it. But after requesting a second kiss on the cheek because he didn't make the sound, she swung her face towards him as he approached and kissed him quickly on the lips, making the infamous sound. So he stumbled backwards, clearly shocked, and said, "You didn't," while Perry put her arms in the air, but the seemingly innocent exchange was upsetting for Glaze. Now 20, he revealed in an interview with the New York Times that it was the first kiss he ever had. I mean, tragic. That's all I'm going to say, tragic. Before we start off with our guests, obviously, I'm just going to quickly come over to the chat. A lot of stuff going down. Nicholas says, "I hate Katy Perry." Nicholas also said, "Who is he?" Well, now you know. Brian says, "Keep in mind, Katy had no idea about his religious beliefs or morals. She was just being a nice, loving person and having a fun joke." Brian also added, "Believe me, if she knew it would offend him or annoy him in any way, she wouldn't have done that." Brian also added, obviously, if the roles were reversed and a middle-aged male kissed a young girl, there would be massive uproar." Exactly what I'm saying. We're not talking about Katy Perry specifically in terms of her as a person. What we're talking about is the situation, the circumstances around the situation. You know, this is what I bring it back to, understanding different people's own perspective. I mean, something that you may find joking and funny and hilarious, others may find offensive and undesirable. And I think it's really, really important that in this day and age that we realize that not everybody is the same, and not everybody's level of something being funny will be seen as being funny. For example, some people getting drunk and looking drunk and behaving drunk is absolutely ridiculously hilarious for others to watch, but some people might find it like you're just out of control. You're like you're crazy, you know. So the thing is, there's always a double-edged sword to every action, which is why I always say to people, never put yourself in a position that may have a recurring thing for you to deal with later, rather than put yourself in a position where you're neutral, where there is no backlash, you know. So, you know, from that, I'd like to bring on Tara K. Dick, everyone. Welcome, Tara. Welcome. So, Tara, Katy Perry, your favorite artist of all time.
Oh, yeah.
She does this. What do you do?
Oh my goodness.
What do you do? What do you think, Tara? We just moved on from International Women's Day. Is this what International Women's Day got women? Is this what it promoted? You know, that women can just go out and kiss every young man they find, and they can't do shit about it.
I think she was totally wrong doing that. I mean, even if she didn't know his background or whatever, he just said he's never been kissed because he's waiting to be in a relationship, and she just ruined it for him.
Yeah. And I think it's sad because, you know, it goes to show you, like, she thinks it's funny. They all thought it was funny, but the kid obviously was like, inside, he was like, no,
he was literally
this isn't
thrown
funny.
Back.
I mean, I've never seen anyone hit the ground like. I mean, unless Katy Perry's kisses are explosive, okay, then there is no way someone would fly off a girl's lips that quick to the ground. I mean, literally, I felt. I mean, the kid looked like he was a bit naive anyway. But the thing is, it's sad that people who are in power are using their power for something which can be seen as funny, but it to be honest with you, it isn't good. Because if you reverse the roles, you would not get this kind of reaction. It would have been completely different. Even if it was one of the other two judges, because they were both male, it would have been different from what the reaction is from a sex symbol like Katy Perry.
Right.
Anything else you want to add to what I'm saying?
I was just gonna say that just because I feel like they think just because they're famous they can get away with doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think that is a valid point, because I think a lot of the time stardom does kind of draw its ugly head in that respects. Exodus, Katy Perry,
Yo.
the sex symbol that you put up on your wall every night. Drill that hole into the wall and begin your daily routine. Tell me,
Fuck off.
how do you feel now?
Fuck off with that shit, honestly.
I know I'm making a laugh and a joke about it, but I'll be honest with you, it's disgusting, okay? Anyway, Exodus, tell us. How's that hole in the wall? No, I'm joking.
I'm kind of on his side, being myself an 19-year-old that just kind of risky, but never kissed a girl either. It's kind of fucked up because he's waiting for like the right girl to share it with, and she just fucked that whole shit up for him. Like,
but it's Katy Perry.
But still, he fucked it up.
Yeah, but it's.
She gets divorced from Russell Brand. Now she can do anything.
So, do you feel that what kind of repercussions would you say would be valid? I mean, you're a young man, 17.
18.
What would be 18. What would be a valid sort of punishment for this kind of action? Do you think she should be arrested?
No, I think she should pay him like $500,000.
$500,000, right? Katy Perry, if you're watching this video, it's worth at least $500,000 for ruining the rest of his life. Because now, if this guy turns out to be an alcoholic and turns into a suicide video for Logan Paul, it's all Katy Perry's fault. Okay, from beginning to end, up to this point. Anyway, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you be going around kissing young men like that?
No.
So where's your stance on this? How do you feel about Katy Perry?
I don't really like her, to be honest. She just flaunts.
What, you don't like her as a person, or?
Because when we close it, there's no hole there. I'm not poking a hole in it.
Oh, you don't like what she represents?
This is big too.
Well, I just really don't like her.
Hold on, you're breaking up a lot. You need to sort your mic out. You're breaking up. You're cracking in between every sentence.
Is that better?
Get closer to your mic.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just don't like her as well, really. I just believe that she just flaunts herself too much, and the fact that forcing a kiss on someone is pretty much is assault, really, and using a position of power and your fame in a sexual manner is pretty much manipulation, really.
I mean, it's kind of like what's happening with Harvey Weinstein at the moment. Him using his power and position and taking advantage of all these young actresses and young girls that he's been alleged of assaulting. That didn't want any of the sort of affection and advances that he made towards them. This is not that far from it. This is like a very similar kind of thing. I mean, she may not have intentionally wanted this to be this way, but I mean, he said. I mean, the thing is, you could argue the case that he never said any. He might have not. Maybe he didn't say anything, and it's his own fault. But he said that he's never been kissed. He made that pretty clear, and that he was saving it for a special girl. And then she was like, "Oh my god, I've got to break his virginity. Get up here right now, you stud. I'm gonna rock your world." But that's not the kind of. Yeah, go on.
The other thing that I read up was that another auditionee also came into the room, and Katy Perry also started hitting on him, calling him hot, and was joking about saying that, oh, if you didn't go to Hollywood, maybe you can come and hang out with me sometime, sort of joking around sort of that way.
Yeah, sexual innuendo kind of thing.
Yeah, and but the guy at the audition, he also had a girlfriend, but like through all the way throughout the performance, like they were doing at the beginning, she was trying to draw his attention away from him by like giggling and, you know, saying that, you know, just joking things about, but some of her jokes were taking it a bit too far, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like I was saying before, I mean, my personal kind of take on this is that if this was reversed, if this role was reversed, if this was a man kissing a girl who was 19 years old, I'm telling you now, it would not be. Even if it was someone at the age of Katy Perry. I mean, I think Katy Perry is like, she's 27 now, something. She's nearly 30. So, like, you know, you imagine a 30-year-old man kissing a 19-year-old girl who's come onto American Idol. There would be serious allegations put towards that person, and the repercussions would be extensive. And I mean, just to touch on this this story a little bit more, Glaze said that he didn't feel sexually harassed by Perry in the previously recorded audition. But he added, I know a lot of guys would be like, heck yeah. But for me, I was raised in a conservative family and I was uncomfortable immediately. I mean, the thing is, adding to that of what he's saying is Katy Perry herself came from a Christian background. She came from a very Christian family who always sang in churches, and she wanted to become a country folk singer. But obviously that didn't quite work out. But the thing is, that was her dream. So to a certain degree, a young man saying what he said, she should have had some idea of what he meant by that, because obviously for her, from where she's come from, yeah, she's gone through all these changes and she's a different person now and whatever, but she can understand someone who's from a conservative family, how strict they would be about their beliefs and about their understanding of the world and what they would, you know, appreciate as being over gesturely. And just to add to what he said, I wanted my first kiss to be special, Glaze concluded. And on Thursday, he slightly backpedaled on his comments to the media, writing on Instagram, the way certain articles are worded is not done by me, and my true intentions are not accurately represented in every article you read about the situation. I'm not complaining about the kiss. I'm very honored and thankful to have been a part of American Idol. But he continued to say that he was uncomfortable because he was not expecting the kiss. So, you know, just going on from that, what do you guys? I mean, I don't want to drag this on for too long because, to be honest with you, this is fucking quite boring for me. But just to come to Exodus, I guess. Exodus, what's your last take on this particular topic? Do you think? I mean, are we blowing this out of proportion? Are we just being too over the top? I mean, Katy Perry is a superstar. You know, she's hot. Everybody wants a piece of that ass. And not everybody, but, you know, a lot of guys do. But I mean, Exodus, I mean, just look at that hole size in the wall, for God's sake. But the thing is, okay, back to serious note. Okay, I'm just saying, okay, what could have been different? I mean, do you think Katy Perry should tone it down a little bit? Is she going a bit too excessive here?
She's going way too excessive. She's being, like, I feel like if you're a judge on something, you should be, like, the point of being a judge is to being fair across all boards, not picking favorites. No,
yeah.
not you.
Yeah.
Like, who, me?
What about you, Miss Tara K? What's your last take on this little Katy Perry controversy? Tara's like, I'm had enough of this bitch. Okay, carry on, Tara. I can tell already.
I think honestly, part of it, I think she did just for ratings.
You reckon? She just wanted to drive those numbers.
Yeah.
It's all about those views, right?
Yep. That's
I think in her game, and I think in her game, there's no such thing as bad publicity. I mean, she shaved all her hair off her fucking head, for God's sake. She tried to do a Britney Spears, like, as if she's losing her mind, but she isn't.
No, it's like Miley Cyrus.
That's right. At least it's a Miley event. And obviously, finishing up Crazy Holes. Katy Perry, your best friend. Talk to me. What's your last opinion?
She's my best friend.
I'm gonna have to have a talk with her.
I just think she's disrespectful and rude. And I think she should respect people's, I think she should respect people's wishes. And, if he said that kiss, then just leave it as that. Don't go one step further and say, oh, come here.
Here's my tongue. Right, okay. Don't forget, guys, we want to pass the question off to you. What's your personal take on this? Brian has left his comments in the chat, obviously, of what his personal opinion is on this particular situation, which is nice to hear from Brian. If you guys have anything you want to add to it, please be sure to drop your comments down below if you're watching us live. If you're watching this video, obviously, after it's broadcasted, please be sure to drop your comments. Let us know what you're thinking while we were having this conversation. Do you guys feel the same way? Or do you think the guy's just being cynical? Maybe he was a lucky son of a bitch, but just the wrong lucky son of a bitch. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, Brian's added one more topic before we jump. Brian says, really? Hold on a second. I'm echoing on someone. Who's watching me? Oh, it's goddamn Exodus. Brian added, really, whether you've spent time with Katy Perry or experienced her in real life, morally, you cannot say whether you hate her or not. That's where Brian's leaving that. Brian, please join the podcast. I'm sure you and Crazy Holes will have some great conversation to drive the views up on this little podcast. It'd be quite interesting to get you in here for a podcast at some point. But if you guys, agree with Brian, let us know. If you guys agree with what Crazy had to say, let us know, or even me, or even Exodus, or even goddamn Tara. Let us know in those comments down below. We'd love to hear from you guys. Moving on briefly, though, we're gonna move on to this poor little pooch. Okay, we got so many sub stories in the news this week, and one of them, adding to the Crufts phenomena, was United flight attendant made a woman put her puppy in an overhead bin, basically the overhead cabinet in the airplane, and he died. That's right, hot news after press. This beautiful little puppy is now dead because of an air stewardess, I think. Before we start talking about this conversation, we are going to play a little video for you guys to listen to, so please be sure to watch this attentively, because it shows everything you need to know from A to Z about what happened to this little pooch.
This 10-month-old French bulldog named Coquito died on a United Airlines flight Monday after an attendant forced its owners to put the pet in an overhead bin.
He was a really special dog, and it's just sad how the way he has to just leave.
11-year-old Sofia Ceballos and her mother Catalina Robledo were on a flight from Houston to New York. Robledo says she placed her dog in a small carrying bag under the seat in front of her, but the flight attendant insisted she put the animal overhead.
I was like, it's a dog, he can't breathe there. And she's like, it doesn't matter. She felt the dog and she put him up there.
The family says they heard the dog barking for 2 hours on the 3.5-hour flight, but then he went silent. They wanted to check on him but couldn't because of turbulence. No one was allowed to get out of their seats. When the flight finally landed, They found Coquito had died.
My mom was crying. She was like screaming there, looking at him.
United has issued an apology saying this was a tragic accident that should never have occurred, as pets should never be placed in the overhead bin. The flight attendant claims she didn't know a dog was in the bag. United has issued a refund to the family, including the $125 pet cabin fee they paid. This isn't the first time the airline has come under scrutiny for its treatment of animals. Last year, the carrier was sued by the owners of a giant rabbit that died on one of its flights.
And there you have it. United Airlines does a 180. So basically, they... I mean, I don't even know where to start on this fucking particular bloody thing that happened with them lot. But basically, United Airlines put the cabin crew put a little doggy, a little cute little doggy, straight in the overhead bin. And even though they told the flight attendant, even though the flight attendant's playing, you know, I don't remember there being a pet in there, above their head, and the dog was barking for 2.5 hours, barking, which means, you know, it's like, dude, I'm cooking up here. Basically, it couldn't breathe, and yeah, the doggy died after the 3-hour flight. This is a very tragic story to happen. I mean, obviously, for those who are dog owners, who are pet owners, can obviously feel for the family, for this tragic thing that's happened. I mean, the thing is, it's never nice when anything dies, especially when it's a family pet, because obviously there's a lot of attachment to that pet. There's a lot of you know, especially if it's like a pet you buy on a birthday, if you buy because of some mourning for someone else's loss or what have you, it can come with a lot of a sentimental value which cannot be easily replaced. United Airlines said it will assume full responsibility for the death of the 10th-month-old puppy. It wasn't even a big dog. It's a goddamn puppy, goddammit. It wasn't even a year old yet. That appeared to have suffocated after it was placed inside the overhead compartment on a 3-hour flight from Houston to New York on Monday. So literally, they have taken responsibility. I mean, Jesus. I mean, imagine if they hadn't. According to the United policy, small pets can travel in the cabin in a hard-sided or soft-sided kennel at a charge of $125, as long as the carrier can fit in the space underneath the seat in front of the passenger. So the normal process, the policy of United Airlines is that that carry-on should have gone underneath the front seat of their seat that they're sitting in. Several fellow passengers who watched the distraught family recounted the incident on social media. The story was later picked up by The Points Guy, a travel consumer advocacy blog. I just flew into LGA and witnessed a United flight attendant instruct a passenger to put her dog in an overhead bin. They tweeted that out, and obviously the dog died. There was plenty of more tweets that came out. They insisted that the puppy be locked up for 3 hours without any kind of airflow. Another flight, 1284 passenger June, Lara wrote, in the Facebook post early Tuesday, they assumed the safety of the family's pet so warily. The mother agreed. The puppy whimpered through the beginning of the flight, but eventually quietened. Finally, when the plane landed, the dog owner opened the bin and pulled out the dog carrier. Lara recounted there was no sound. So basically, the dog died during the flight. Who's to blame? I mean, United Airlines are obviously to blame, and they have taken full responsibility for this tragic thing happening. The thing I really want to pass off to you guys is, what should we do? I mean, an airline has instructed us to do something. We've taken them on their sole discretion. Oh, this is what we're supposed to do. Blah blah blah. The passenger actually knew that they shouldn't be putting the pet above the overhead cabin. It should be going in front of the seat. They actually said this as well. From other reports that I've seen, but the attendant ignored their request. Under those sort of circumstances, I mean, to be honest with you, if I was a pet owner, I would have just walked off the flight, or I would have asked to see security or something. I would have escalated the situation. I mean, I wouldn't have just dismissed it so wearily as it's stated from some people who saw the incident taking place. But then again, I don't know. Maybe because she was Hispanic, she was worried like maybe her color skin might have an influence on the outcome of this whole situation, and maybe she didn't want to miss the flight. I don't know. There is so many sides to every story. But the thing that I want to kind of bring down to this is that it's very, very sad to see how we've just gone from the Crufts scandal to a simple thing as a pet going on a plane and winding up dead. The thing is, what could have been done differently? What could have what steps could have the family have taken to make things more safer for their pets? Who the hell knows? This is where you guys come into this, because I personally have no pets, so my take is quite limited in terms of my scope. But lucky for you people, we've got people here who have had pets in the past and are able to give pretty good accounts of what could have been done differently. I want to bring the question off to Exodus D to begin with, and we'll move on to the other two in a minute.
Right.
Exodus, what do you think could have been done differently? Is there a way this could have been prevented?
Yeah, they could have either, or like you said, just walk off the plane or stuff, or just completely just like cause the ruckus and shit, because that's absolutely ridiculous. Like every single flight I've been on that kind of dog has always been like under the seat, and I've never once heard any flight attendant tell someone to put their dog in the cabin. Like that's just, there's a reason only dads go up there, because there's no air up there. There's no airflow up there.
I think that's a perfect point. But do you not? Do you not think that? The family said that once they were in the air, there was a lot of turbulence, so they weren't able to get out of their seat to do whatever. But don't you think, like, even if there was turbulence, you would just open the cabin just to see if the dog was okay or not okay?
I mean, I would just hold my dog so if I didn't or anyone couldn't take it, and if they would have told me to get off the plane, I'm like, fine, I don't care. I'm gonna book another airline. Like,
Yeah.
their first mistake was doing United, because wasn't United the people that like beat up that doctor or whatever on the flight like 6 months ago?
It was the same flight. Yeah, it was the same flight. Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
like. I'm not trying to wait up for picking United, but go with like Southwest or something, or American. United's obviously fucked up in the past.
I mean,
I don't know. I've never been able to take my dogs on planes because my dogs have always been like bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, the thing is, I'll pass the question off to Crazy Holes. Crazy Holes has got a little puppy dog. She loves her dog a lot. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If a flight attendant tells you to put your bloody dog in the overhead compartment, I know your dog would never fit in one, but if it was small enough and it did manage to fit in one, as a pet owner, even if there was turbulence that made you float in the air, you would surely get out of your seat and just check on your dog, wouldn't you?
Either that, or I would literally be like, right, listen, have you felt the air in there? There's no air. I'm putting him back where he should be, which is underneath the seat.
I mean, do you think there was some night was it night? I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of the word. There were the dog owner was a little bit naive. That's the word.
Do you know what though? But I have seen a few. It's like, I don't know if you know about the emotional, like the service dogs. A lot of people buy certificates and buy fake vests, put onto their dogs, and make out that their dog emotional or medically trained dog. Now, knowing that it was in a kennel, she probably had it out. I don't know, maybe she had it out on seat, and maybe the flight attendant, maybe she quickly put the dog back in, and maybe they said, "Oh, like, no." I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but sometimes it can go towards that era,
I mean, I'm just saying on the basis of that being a dog owner, like your dog is in the overhead cabin, which is not the place for it to be in the first place. Wouldn't you just, just out of your own thinking of this isn't the best place for my dog to be in? You wouldn't you just get out of the seat and just have a look and just check?
Of course I would. See, the thing is, when I flew my my dog over, I was actually very can't think of the word now. I was very
concerned. You was
I was very
apprehensive.
I was very fortunate enough
to
have him with me.
Yeah.
Because I was put to first class when I moved over here. So I was actually allowed to have him with me because he's part of my medical, basically. So, and there is this lady actually on the flight, and she had her dog just sitting on her lap, no kennel, nothing. And when the flight attendant asked her to put her dog in the kennel, she went all defensive and was saying, "Oh, he's my this, he's my that," and he's safe. And when the flight attendant asked her for proof, she couldn't show nothing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, dogs don't.
So do you think some bad apples are spoiling it for making flight attendants have to take more drastic actions?
Yeah. It's already bad enough as it is that you're taking a pet on a plane. It's already stressful enough.
Yeah.
So whether they're trained or not. So yeah.
Okay. No, that's a good point. I mean, Tara K, the zoo that you own, what do you think? I mean, do you think there'd be a problem? Do you not think like you would? I mean, you're a dog. You've owned pets a long time. Surely you would have just gone out of you just wouldn't care whether someone's telling you can't do this and you can't do that. You would just check on their pet, even if the turbulence was making you levitate. Surely you would check to see if your pet was cool, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I wouldn't let my pet go up in the overhead, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, they force you to put your pet in the overhead. You somehow you become submissive, and you're like, okay, fine. You just want to catch this plane. You got to get home, whatever it is. But during the flight, come on, you're the owner of the pet. It's your fucking dog,
right?
You'd
have to check on it.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Kick you off the plane at 35,000 feet? Don't think so.
Come on.
I don't think they're gonna do it. The thing is, I have a lot of empathy and I have a lot of sympathy for the family who have lost a pet. Okay, especially the young kid. I mean, you can see the young kid is fucking. The heart's broken. You can tell. Okay, I mean, and it's not the best way to kill a pet. Even though to lose a pet. I don't find this dog particularly attractive personally. That's not the point though. The point is the young girl is distraught from losing this little pet.
Right.
And the thing is I hate to have to do this, but I have to hold some responsibility with the owner of the pet, because surely, I mean, there is no way you would let someone put your baby in the fucking overhead and then you wouldn't check on the baby for 3 hours. I mean, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. Human being, you wouldn't do it. Okay, why the fuck do we let it happen to things that aren't human? Why do we allow torturous things to happen to things that aren't human related? Like animals.
I mean,
why does that happen?
In my opinion, when
Hold on. I know crazy holes. I know you're trying to jump in there, but this is Tara's turn.
No.
This is still Tara's time.
And the poor dog was a slow and painful death for that poor puppy.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, they said
baby. It was still a baby.
Yeah, I know, man. It's terrible. 10 months old. It's not even a year old yet. Anyway, crazy. What did you want to jump in with? Let's have a listen.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, yeah, I do believe it's partially to do the owner. You know, I'm pretty sure that if it was a bit of turbulence, you know, you'd have to say, look, hey, listen, I know that there's a bit of turbulence, but I can still hold on and literally go up to the top bit, whatever you call it, the overhead.
The cabin, yeah, the cabin, yeah, the overhead cabin, yeah.
You've just literally put my dog up there, and I'm on a 4-hour flight. I need to check.
You don't get to be on
It's not the case of I'll leave him for 4 hours to make sure, and by the time the flight's up, he should be okay.
Yeah, I mean they're showing up. I mean I'm just showing you on the channel right now the kind of space that we're talking about in the overhead cabin. I mean you're carrying your hand luggage, which is normally like a small size suitcase, onto the plane, and this is the kind of space that this dog had to contend with. It's not gonna be the best place for any animal to go, and these things, they pop down. They put the actual luggage in, and then they push it shut back up again. And you can imagine when it goes back up, it's like, it's a lot smaller than what it was when it was open. So, I mean, the airline, 100%, the staff did the wrong thing, okay? I'm not going to argue that case at all, okay? I'm not even going to try and argue that case. But at the same time, some responsibility has to lie with the owner of the pet, because you can say the airline shouldn't have done what they did. They shouldn't have put the dog up in the overhead bin, but there's no give. There's no fight back. It's like someone saying to you, "Oh, you got to, from now on, if you want to fly, you gotta bring your own fucking seat." I mean, come on. You gotta have at some point where you need to have that. You need to have that power. You need to stand up for what is yours. And I think it's the same thing with this gun situation that's happening in America. Is you guys have got gun rights. Second Amendment protects you with your firearm. There is nothing to stop anyone from picking up a different thing and calling it a weapon and then using it. And it's the same thing here. Pets been put in a place where it's not meant to go. United's own policy is that pets who are in carry-ons have to go in the seat underneath the front seat, underneath the front of your seat. So the seat in front of you, it goes underneath that seat, and normally that's where your legs would go. And they're saying you could put it there, and that's where it should be. This cabin crew says to put it above. You don't agree with it. You don't want to miss your flight, so you say fine. But at the same time, dude, the flight takes off. It's gonna plateau at some point. You're gonna level off, even if it's fucking doing this. You would get out of your seat. If it was a baby, you'd get out of your seat. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I think a lot of the responsibility lies way more sometimes with the owners of their pets than the bloody people who. I mean, the airline has no responsibility to protect your pet anyway. It's all down to you either way, to make sure that your pet travels safe and arrives safe and what have you. But before we move on from this topic, I know we've got a lot of pet owners. If you guys are watching us live, please be sure to drop your comments down below. We'll be sure to read them out if they're relevant to the topic that we're talking about. Let us know what you think about the airline issue with the dog dying in the overhead locker. If you're watching us live, drop it down now. If you're watching us after, drop a comment anyway. We'll read it. No problems. And before we move on, obviously I'll come to our guests just on a last opinion of their topic on the topic. We'll finish. We'll start off with Miss Tara K. Tara, any last impressions?
Well, one, I think that the flight attendant should. I'm hoping she would have gotten fired for making that. Put the puppy up there.
Okay. Okay, these are our demands. Flight attendant fired. Okay, second one, Tara.
Two. I would.
Second demand. Yep.
I just feel like the owner should have stood up more for her puppy, and there's no reason that they I might like having my dogs. If I were to bring them on the plane, I wouldn't have let them go up above. I don't care. I would have gotten off the plane with them. I feel bad for the puppy. It's a tough subject for me.
It suffered. It did. Definitely.
It did. That's all I have to say.
No more demands. Okay.
No more.
Only one or two demands. Okay.
Only one.
Owner gets shot. Okay. Owner gets shot, and flight attendant gets the sack. Okay. That's what's gonna happen here. Okay. Anyway, that's not my words. That's Tara K. Rewind the video. That's what she said. Anyway, moving on. We're gonna bring in Crazy Holes. Crazy. Tell me. Lasting opinions. What's your demands to United Airlines?
I believe that it's.
I can fly.
I believe.
Go on, say it again. Go on, say it again.
No. I think that it.
I can touch the sky. Yeah, go on. Think about it every night and day. Okay, come on, let's be serious now. Last opinions. Come on, Crazy.
Okay, I think that it's. I hate you right now. That it's a 50-50, you know.
Yeah.
10 and 50 owners.
What? Hold on. What's 50-50?
On the flight attendants and the owners.
Right. Okay. So it's halfway exactly. You think?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you agreeing with Tara then? Flight attendant gets the sack, owner gets shot.
Pretty much.
Okay. Right. And last but not least, Mr. Exodus D. What's your lasting impressions?
Honestly, I kind of want to see what Ireland thinks about it.
Okay, Ireland. Tell us.
Here.
Tell the world.
Hello. Tell them what you think.
Hey, Ireland. What do you think about the dog dying?
I feel like it's the person on the airplane's fault.
Okay. So, shoot the airplane. Got it. Good opinion. Good opinion. Right. If you guys have got any interesting opinions, just like a little island over here, or Crazy Holes, Tara K, or Exodus D, please drop them down in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. Please let us know what you're thinking about this little incident with the little doggy. The little beautiful doggy, little puppy, gets, I don't know, I mean...
It looks like a bunny.
It does! That's exactly what I said! Yes! She agrees with me! Yes, Island! That's exactly what I said! It looks like a goddamn rabbit! That's exactly what I said! It looks like a goddamn bunny! You're right! You're totally right! Looks like Roger Rabbit! Nicely done. Just the black version. Anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We're moving on. We're moving on, young lady. We're moving on. Thank you for joining us. That was Exodus D's little sister. Right. Right. Second.
That's not what I said.
Second from last story is something a little bit interesting. It's we're talking about what's happening in the world of YouTube, and obviously there's been a lot of controversy happening over the past couple of weeks with Logan Paul, with Jake Paul, with PewDiePie, with everybody. There's been loads of stuff happening, fascinating things, but there's nothing more fascinating than the next story I'm about to talk about, and that is this young lady here. Her name. What the fuck's her name? Her name is Mona Lisa Perez. And this is this actually comes from the Washington Post, and this is the top headline. He thought a book would stop a bullet. Now his girlfriend is going to jail for killing him. That's right. Okay, That's right. This young lady here is facing jail time because she shot her boyfriend with a Desert Eagle, thinking that a book would stop the bullet. I know. What the hell? So anyway, without further ado, we're gonna hit the play button on this shit. Tara's just like, my god, I what the fuck? North Korea, send the goddamn nukes. But anyway, all I'm saying is that we're gonna hit this play button on the video. Please be sure to turn up your headphones so you can hear this loud and clear. Because this is about to get interesting. That's what I'm gonna say. Woman shoots boyfriend in YouTube stunt. 19-year-old Mona Lisa Perez is charged with manslaughter after shooting her boyfriend Pedro Ruiz III during YouTube stunt on June 26th.
Well, guys, we're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut off today early because I'm super exhausted from doing all day. And I worked all day, and I did 100 backflips.
Hi YouTube friends, it's Mommy
and Poppy,
and today we're coming at you with another challenge video.
Yep.
And today's challenge is gonna be the Whisper Challenge.
Let's go.
Isn't it funny how everyone knows YouTube now?
Yeah. Let's go on the.
Imagine when we have 300,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
I
told them.
God,
I told them the bigger we get, I'll be throwing parties out. Because it's a small town. I mean, why not?
Now the 3-year-old daughter, Perez, is currently pregnant with a boy. If convicted, Perez could face a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison.
With another child, which is a boy.
Why?
So, basically, before the 911 call, the police investigation, before the shocking headlines, and his girlfriend's guilty plea to second-degree listen, you hear all about it, young lady. Second-degree manslaughter, Pedro Ruiz III. I don't even know if I'm saying his surname right. I might be saying it wrong. But anyway, an inspiring YouTube star in rural Minnesota spent considerable time persuading Mona Lisa Perez to fire a bullet at his chest. There would be a hardcover encyclopedia between the muzzle and his body. Authorities say the 22-year-old told Perez the pages he reasoned would stop the bullet and grant them fame. But it did not work. Perez, who was pregnant at the time, pulled the trigger that day in late June, shooting and killing Ruiz, according to the Star Tribune. He was declared dead in the house with the couple's 3-year-old not far away. Perez, now 20, pleaded guilty to second-degree manslaughter last week and will serve 180 days in jail. The plea argument states that Perez will serve her sentence in 3 30-day stints staggered over the next 3 years, assuming she has not had any probation violations. She may be able to serve the remaining 90 days through electronic home monitoring. She will also be put on supervised probation for 10 years. Another attorney for Perez could not immediately be reached for comment Wednesday. It was a Monday evening in June when the couple set up 2 cameras outside their home in Minnesota and prepared for social media stardom. Me and Pedro are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever, Perez teased on Twitter at about 5 p.m. June 26th. His idea, not mine, she insisted. It had been 3 months since the young couple added their vlog, La Mona Lisa, to YouTube, where they posted clips of their daily lives and their young daughter. They lived in Halstead, Minnesota, a tiny town on the North Dakota Oh, wow, we had someone from North Dakota today on the live stream. North Dakota border between Grand Forks and Fargo. Episodes feature shots from their home, the car, or the doctor's office, which is where Perez revealed in May that she was pregnant with a little baby boy. Something through was pulling minor pranks, coating donuts with baby powder instead of powdered sugar, freeing paralysis from a grocery store wheelchair, hiding hot peppers on an egg salad sandwich. The bullet and book stunt was supposed to be their big moment. I said, don't do it. Don't do it. Ruiz's aunt, Claudia Ruiz, told her nephew when he shared his idea. Why are you going to use a gun? Why? He responds, she said, was simple, because we want more viewers. That's right, people. This is another case of viewer porn, okay? People wanting to get those views, okay? There's nothing like getting those likes, and there's nothing like getting those views, okay? We need the likes, and we need those views. Without those views, there's no point even trying, okay? No point. So anyway, these two YouTubers were gonna do something fucking insane, okay? They were gonna use a Desert Eagle 5.0, okay, to deliver a bullet through an encyclopedia book, okay, which isn't that big, okay? It's about that thick, okay? Roughly about that thick, okay? A Desert Eagle can shoot through fucking wood, okay? Through! Not hit the wood and not go through. It goes through it! If it was gonna go through fucking wood, it'd go through the book. Okay, but anyway, they thought they'd take the stunt to the next level. They want to make YouTube that dollar. You know, they want the money to fall from YouTube viewership. So they were going to make their big video. And unfortunately, in their conquest for fame, somebody had to die. And somebody had to go to jail. That's right. So basically, the young man, he got shot dead by his girlfriend, point blank. Okay, so the bullet went through the encyclopedia, through Ruiz, the third, and came out the other side of his body. They said, reports, the exit wound was fucking ridiculous. So this is another tragic story. You know, this is another thing that goes down and always... People don't realize, you know, on YouTube, people do stupid things. I mean, just look at Logan Paul. But the thing is, basically, people do stupid things all the time on YouTube to try and get the views, because they're you know, how can I say, they are absolutely consumed by getting those views. Those views mean everything, even to the degree of getting those goddamn likes, and even taking your own life in the process. As we only have two guests left with us, we've got Crazy Holes and Tara K. Exodus had to do a quick little vacay, so I am going to start with Crazy Holes. That's right. Crazy. How crazy are people in the world today? I mean, the pun is there, so I'm going to use it. But Jesus Christ, a gun versus a book. Who thought that would be a good idea?
I mean, to be honest, it's kind of fucking stupid. You know, if you think that a bullet not going to stop paper, skin, then you're fucking clueless. No idea.
I mean, it's a bullet versus paper. I mean, what was they thinking? To think, I mean, they're a bit of a prank channel anyway. They were doing pranks, like kind of like pranks on the channel anyway. Exodus is back, by the way, everybody. But the thing is, a bullet versus. I mean, even the conjuring of the idea is fucking ridiculous, you know. And he done it once before, and the bullet was stopped by the book. So he thought, oh, we'll just push it a little bit deeper and use a fucking Desert Eagle instead this time. But I mean, the thing is, I don't know how to kind of talk about this particular story. It's sad at the same time of it being like an eye-opener for every other creator on the platform, not to hunt for those views. But I mean, the thing is, could this have been prevented? I mean,
I mean, to be honest, I'd say so. To be honest, you know, you learn from your mistakes. Thing is, you know, you just have to think, and you just have to react to what you're doing before you actually do your action. You know, those actions could, of course, take someone's life.
But they have consequence, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it is a bit of a difficult topic to talk about. I mean, Exodus. I mean, what is your take on this particular topic?
I mean, unfortunately, they were trying to do it for the views, and the views ended up killing them, which is just like, why would they think a book would stop a 50 milliliter or millimeter bullet? Like, that's retarded. Like,
I mean, it's
like, bullets are meant to go through people. What makes you think a book will stop? Like, bullets can go through people easily. What the fuck?
I mean, the thing is that what is the causing factor to wanting to get these views? You know, I mean, how could you want to drive yourself to that degree?
Get rich and famous.
Yeah, but the thing is, one video with you shooting a bullet into a book is not going to make you an overnight success. You've got to repeat that. What are they going to do now? Get another gun, a bigger gun, and an even thinner book? You know, eventually it would have ended up like this anyway.
No, they're gonna get a bigger gun and notebook. Duh.
But I mean, the thing is, it's a sad story. I mean, you imagine, right? This guy, this girl was the guy. The guys, like, they were together. They had a baby and everything. It's not like she intentionally killed him. She didn't intentionally kill him, but the thing is that you know they hunted for those views, and those views got them killed.
They tried to do it for the fame, and the fame fucked them over in the end.
Yeah. Tara K.
Yes.
Where do you stand? Are you on the fence or are you on one side?
Well, one, they're stupid. They're complete idiots.
Agreed. Totally agree.
So now, because one's dead, again, because and the other is going to jail, or has been in jail. And I mean, what if their daughter was in that room and obviously the bullet went through him and hit their daughter? I mean, come on, get some sense to your head.
It's crazy, right? They had a baby boy, by the way. But anyway, I mean, the thing is
I
that
thought she was still pregnant.
no, she had it. She had it.
Oh.
Yeah, she's had the baby now. But
people do stupid things for views, and I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, what's your next big trick on your channel anyway for your views?
Yeah, the only thing I have planned is the 24-hour live stream, but I gotta get up over 100 people, 100 followers.
I mean, the thing is, right? Look, the question I really have about this subject is not the sense of like chasing the views. I mean, we know that was a stupid thing to do in the first place. The thing that I have a bit of an issue with is that obviously the crime has been reported. She's pulled the trigger. She's fired the weapon. But is there really a crime being committed?
Yes.
I know it was his idea, but so I don't know how to really. I mean, yeah, she killed him, but it was their.
It's not like it.
It was.
It's not like he killed. It wasn't like self-defense, or like she was gunning for him.
Right. It was. I mean, she still murdered him, but it was a plan that they had to do, that they planned together for just to get views. I think it was stupid. I don't know.
I mean, what about you, Exodus? Do you think, I mean, is there a crime here? Is there a crime being committed here?
I mean, at the end of the day, there is, because she did kill him, even though it was his idea, and she didn't want to do it. But at the end of the day, someone's dead and they know who did it. So yeah, there is a crime technically.
Okay. What about you, Crazy? Is there a crime committed here? Is there a crime?
I mean, I'd say yes and no. Yes, because, there's a weapon involved and a death took place. And no, because they knew what they were doing, basically. So,
Yeah.
It's kind of a difficult one to, whether you're against it or for it, basically. Kind of one of them ones.
No, because I mean, the thing for me is that I'm finding it quite difficult to understand the crime that's actually been committed here, because they're both consented to something, and the outcome was, it could be like a magic trick, a magician, because Houdini died in the same way. I don't know if you know the story of the famous Houdini, but he died doing a water trick where he got padlocked. So there were assailants who padlocked him. So that means there were other people involved. They dropped him in a tank of water, which he would actually, and this is why he got the name Houdini, that he would undo, and then he would undo the padlock, and he'd get out of the pool. That was his trick. This is why they called him Houdini. And on this particular occasion, he drowned because he couldn't get the padlock undone in time. Right. And they all said that one day this trick is going to kill you, and it fucking did. So, in that scenario, it's not that different from firing a weapon at someone who's really who made this plan. Because no one went to jail for Houdini's death. They said it was an accident. But I'm just thinking, how can it be an accident when there were people there who handcuffed him, who put the padlock on the chains, and then they dropped him in the water. It's not like he walked into the water himself. They actually had to lift him and place him in the water tank, and then they let go of him on his last big breath, and then it was up to him to get out. And by the time they realized that he was panicking and they got him out, he had drank too much water in the lungs, and he was dead. So, but no one went to jail for that shit. No one went to jail for his death. They said it was an accident. Now the thing is, with the way I'm looking at this, is kind of like in the same respects, in the sense that two people have consented to doing this thing. It's fucking dumb. Don't get it twisted, okay? It's the stupidest thing you could think of doing. If you're thinking about doing something as stupid, just don't do it. The reward versus the consequences do not even come close to each other. It will be bad. It will be catastrophically bad. And the thing is one person ends up getting killed. Yes, they're using a firearm, and within the state that they were in, you're legally allowed to use a firearm. So it's not like they're breaking the law by owning the weapon. Fine. What the crime that we could say is being committed is someone's got shot. But it's not like someone's got shot because they were trespassing or because they were being robbed. It was pure consent on both parts. She didn't know that the bullet was going to go through. Neither did he. The fact that it went through is just a matter of accident. Am I right in saying that or wrong in saying that? I don't know. The thing is that I don't know how what she did can result in her having a criminal conviction, because she didn't intentionally try to kill him with a weapon. It was his idea for this to happen. It was a joint idea for this to take place, which she participated in. She could have refused. Yep, there's no questions there. But maybe they were both as dumb as each other. That's why they were together. And the thing is, at the same time, her pulling the trigger he is consenting to her doing that. And I'm just a bit confused as to how a crime can be actually committed when it can be so plainly explained in terms of two people consenting to something happening. Unless she was pushed into a corner to make her say something completely different. I personally, it's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to put this on anybody. I can't actually see where this can be a crime, because it's someone's died, fine, but people die all the time. But the thing is, the circumstance of the death is like a magic trick going wrong. I don't know. I'm going to pass it off to the guests who are here and see what they think about it. And obviously, if you guys are sitting at home, please be sure to drop your comments down below and let me know what you're thinking while we're talking about this. Exodus, you seem to be eager beaver to get into this. Hey, let me know.
Yes.
What are you thinking?
See, I agree with you completely. That's kind of like a magic trick, and no one should be at fault. But at the end of the day, the police are looking at for the fact that she pulled the trigger. So, from my standpoint, I don't think it's a crime. But for police, there was a crime, and someone died because someone pulled the trigger.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Crazy. What do you think?
Yeah.
Hold on, you're cutting in and out again.
Said, yeah, it could just be down to pure accident. Nobody knew whether, of course he would.
Because an accident can't become a crime, can it?
Not really. I know.
There's negligence. There's negligence. Fine. There's negligence. I understand that. But this is not negligence. This is like a consented magic trick that's gone completely wrong.
Yeah.
So then the result of the action, it has to be accidental, right?
Yeah.
It can't be negligent. It can't be like put on the fact that, oh, you wanted to do this. Because that's what's been done with second-degree manslaughter.
Yeah.
Which is like you intentionally knew that when you pull the trigger, the bullet was going to go through the book.
Yeah. I don't know. Now looking at it, I'd probably say, yeah, it was more accidental. So, that's more...
It's stupid. Don't get me wrong. It's fucking stupid. Someone's lost their life in the process. But the thing is, what I'm trying to understand is that, I'm just trying to think from the girl's perspective. Like, she must be in absolute... She probably is not even herself now.
No.
And, to then punish her with prison time on top of what's already happened. I mean, she's going to have to live with the fact that she killed probably the man that she loved, who she's given birth to his kids for the rest of her life. If she makes it that far, she might not be able to handle it and take her own life. She might commit suicide or something. I don't know. But the thing is that punishing her further and making her realize that as if she's done something morally wrong on purpose, I think is a bit far. I don't know. What do you think, Tara? Okay.
It was a stunt that went wrong. Stunts go wrong all the time. People get seriously hurt. People die. I don't think she should be held accountable for it, honestly. Yeah, she ended up killing them, but it was something that they planned to do, which I'm sure they knew something could go wrong. I'm sure they didn't think that she was going to end up killing him.
Yeah.
They probably figured the worst that could happen is bruising or something, a flesh wound or whatever.
From the recall, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like they kept it a secret. They told people what they were going to do. People try to talk them out of it, but they have their own mind. They had their mind set on doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't think she should really be held accountable for it.
I think prison time's a bit excessive.
Yeah.
I'm sure she must be feeling like shit.
Yeah, she ended up killing the father of her children, her boyfriend, whatever, because of a stunt they had planned. So
and I'm sure she loved him,
Yeah,
I'm sure she loved him, So that's going to be quite. That's going to be. It's got to be quite a bad. I don't know. The thing is, I'm. This is the way I'm looking at it. This is the angle I'm taking it from. Is fine. They did something stupid, and it has a very big consequence. And everybody will say, every action has a reaction, and you have to live with the consequences. But I don't think further punishment makes it better. Doesn't recover anything. Doesn't change the facts. It's still like she shot him on purpose because she felt like it. Or for whatever other reason. it's something which they're both consented to, and this was the result of it. And yeah, it may be stupid, it may be dumb. On hindsight, they may be thinking, they shouldn't have done it or whatever, but it's done. But then I think sending someone to prison, I think it's just, it's I think it's a little bit much. It's a little bit harsh, I think, personally.
Yeah,
But obviously the conversation doesn't end there. We want to pass the question off to you guys at home. If you guys are watching us live, please drop that comment down below if you want to get involved. If you're watching us on playback, please also don't forget to leave that comment. Let us know what you think about this particular topic. How did it move you? How did it take you? Do you have any particular points? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with any of the guests? Let us know down below. We'd love to hear from all of you guys, as always. And we love to read your comments. And if they're relevant and if they make a good impact, get enough up likes, we will maybe retouch it on a future podcast. And we move on to the final story. I cannot believe today's podcast has been 3 hours and 11 minutes long. But we are on the last and final story, people. Yes, we made it through. Yeah, it's supposed to be an hour and a half. We've doubled the time today. But the last and final story is something which we're going to touch on. It's not going to be a long story, so bear with us as we make it through this last one. And basically, this one comes from the Daily Mail. And this is the Mail Online, part of the Daily Mail news group. And it's about this young lady called Brianna Brochu. And if you don't know who Brianna Brochu is, she is this young lady who did something horrific. Let me read out some of this, some of these horrific things that she did. So, a black roommate whose belongings were smeared with period blood by her white roommate goes to court to support her rehabilitation and lenient sentence. Brianna Brochu, 18, appeared in Hartford court Monday for a probation hearing. Brochu got 2 years of accelerated rehabilitation by Judge Omar A. Williams. The program could result in criminal charges being erased from Brochu's record. The University of Hartford student is accused of tormenting her former roommate, Chanel Rowe, and smearing period blood on her belongings. Brochu, who is white, boasted on Instagram and called Rowe Jamaican Barbie. She is now facing misdemeanor criminal mischief charges in Connecticut. Brochu's lawyers said the incidents were not racially motivated and she was upset over a Snapchat video Rowe shared of her snoring. Brochu had told police her actions were in retaliation for Rowe's rude behavior. A white former Connecticut University student accused of that's the same shit. It's just going over it again. This is the young lady here. If you haven't seen her before, this is what she looked like. The question is, and this is the other lady. This young lady here. She's the one who smeared her period blood over this person's belongings. And just to add to it, the former University of Hartford student accused of harassing her roommates by smearing bodily fluids on the roommate's backpack and tampering with other items. This is what she, and I think there is actually a video on this as well, which we'll show you in a minute. There is a couple of things to talk about with these two. So alongside what was going on, there was a post by Breezy Bumblebee. This was her Instagram post. Finally did it, yo! Girl got rid of her roommate after 1.5 months of spitting in her coconut oil, putting moldy clam dip in her lotions, rubbing used tampons on her backpack, putting her toothbrush places where the sun doesn't shine, and so much more. I can finally say goodbye, Jamaican Barbie. This is what she looked like prior to the incident, and here's what she looks like now. That's right. Big far cry from the smiley little Barbie girl. And this was what basically this is what happened afterwards. There's a little video for us to play for you guys to enjoy. So don't forget to grab that popcorn and listen out for this. This is something
University
else.
of Hartford. Okay, I go to the University of Hartford. It's in Connecticut. And I'm not from here. Okay. So basically, I moved in August 27th, right, this summer. And I was assigned a roommate by random. And basically, I moved out about 2 weeks ago. And I moved out because I felt like I was unwanted in my own room, right? But this is not even like the huge part. So I basically felt like I was unwanted in my own room, you know, like I was ignored. I was like a ghost in my own room, you know? Like,
What's up, gamer
I was
boy?
disrespected, and not like physically, but like if the person was to walk into the room and see me doing work, like she'll turn off the light and just walk out, and just like a whole bunch of petty disrespectful stuff. But me, I never said anything because I don't want to start any conflict. I'll easily like just turn on my personal light, you know what I'm saying? But basically, while I've been here, I've been getting sick. Not knowing why I've been getting sick. It started with throat pain.
I'm good, man. Just rolling my podcast. Joining the conversation, dude. Leave a subscribe if you're new.
Catching a cold. You know what I'm saying? But usually when I catch a cold, it starts in my throat, and then I get the other, like the actual cold. I realized I didn't get the actual cold. You know what I'm saying? And the sore throat pain got worse, and it was just throat pain. And this was happening for about a month. So it got to the point where like 3.5 weeks in, it got to the point where I had extreme throat pain that I couldn't sleep, to the point where I couldn't speak. Like I would try to whisper and I could barely whisper. So I decided, let me go to the health clinic on campus because I can't let another day go by, you know what I'm saying? Because it's got so worse. So I went to the health clinic. They did 3 tests and they gave me antibiotics, but I got the antibiotics before I got the test back because they asked me if I want it first or do I want to wait. But I didn't want to go through another sleepless night with such extreme pain. So took the antibiotic. The 3 tests that they did came back negative, right? Still, nobody knows what's wrong with me. All they know is that there's some type of bad bacteria in my throat causing all this pain. So a couple of days go by and I decide I don't need to move out my room because I feel unwanted, this, that, and the third. This is not how roommates are supposed to be, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was a whole bunch of things going on. Mind you, I was really super nice with my roommate. Like, I shared my microwave, shared my fridge, fed her fish. She left every weekend, blah, 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 whatever. So I decided to go about go look information by myself to go move out. So I found a roommate real quick, and I was going to move out. So one night, I went in my room and I was taking little things one by one, just starting to move it into the new room. Out of nowhere, it's like I was existing for once in since I moved in. My prior roommate asked me, "Oh, are you moving out?" She paused her movie and everything. I was like, "Yes." Like I just said a one-worded response, "Yes." So she made a face, said, "Okay." And then I seen her texting on her phone. I assumed that she was just telling all her friends that I was moving out. 5 minutes later, I go down the steps of my old building, about to walk out into my new building when I'm approached by my old neighbor and 2 RAs. My old neighbor tells me, "Oh, Chanel, I sent you something on the phone. You need to look at it. It's super important." Me not knowing what's going on, my hands full, I couldn't look at my phone. So she shows me on her phone herself. Apparently, this girl posted on her Instagram that something I wasn't friends with her on Instagram. So other people on campus are seeing all this stuff that she's publicly posting, okay? So she posted what she's been doing ever since I moved in. And now I'm going to read you exactly, here's the paragraph. Only stuff I have is what was sent to me. I don't have everything she's been posting or, all the videos that she posted to me, because she would post videos of me eating, saying, "Oh, if only she knew what where her utensils been or whatever the case may be. But I'm going to read you what I was sent, what she posted 5 minutes before I left my room when I told her I was moving out. So here's a screenshot. It's a paragraph, and I'm going to read it to you. Finally did it. Your girl got rid of her roommate. After 1.5 months of spitting in her coconut oil, putting moldy clam dip in her lotions, rubbing used tampons on her backpack, putting her toothbrush places where the sun doesn't shine, and so much more, I can finally say goodbye to Jamaican Barbie. So this is the paragraph, right? She posts that on her Instagram. Then she starts posting pictures of what she's been doing to me, right? So she posts pictures of my Steve Madden backpack. I don't know if you can see the little spots, but it's tampon blood stains, right? Tampon blood stains, okay? So she has her period blood stains on my bag. I don't have the bag on me because public safety removed it because they said it was a health hazard and the fact that I've been sleeping next to this thing. I usually keep my bag open right on my bed, right? See this little wooden post thing in the corner of my bed? I usually keep it hooked and then have the flap open. So the flap opens on my sheets. And I always sleep towards the bag flap where the blood is, right? I've been sleeping there for months and the bag's been hanging there and I wasn't using it because I have multiple bags, you know what I'm saying? So I use different bags and that one's just been sitting there with blood on it. Me not knowing, right? Sleeping there, taking in all the nonsense. But you know, that's just my backpack. Like if you really go in depth. Now here's another picture that she posted, okay? This is something that was in my fridge. Of my fridge that I shared with this girl that I didn't know she had this type of shit in it. I'm just thinking, you know, I'm sharing the fridge with her, you know. I bought the fridge, I bought the microwave, I'm sharing my stuff with her, and I don't have a problem with it, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's just food. Sis posts a picture and says, like, this is moldy clam dip that I've been mixing in with her face lotions. Then she takes pictures of my mail and posts it wherever, talking shit. My thing is, I keep looking at this paragraph, right? Because the paragraph says so much stuff she done. And at the same time, she says she's done so much more. I don't know the so much more. I've been using my toothbrush for how long? She says she puts my toothbrush places the sun doesn't shine. What else? The fact that I have blood where I sleep and I didn't know. I've been using my coconut oil, coconut oil is expensive, you know? The organic virgin coconut oils, that's what I use, right? And I don't go to no health beauty supply store. I go to what's it called, organic stores or wholesale food stores or Trader Joe's to buy them. Them things are expensive, right? She's over here putting moldy clam dip in her spit.
So that gives you the idea of what's going on with this young lady. So, where do we end? Where do we conclude this one? Basically, the fact that she did this is just fucking ridiculous anyway. But what I really want to talk about is how fucking disgusting are people in the world today? Okay? It's sickening to even think, could you imagine being in university or college and you're living on campus next to somebody who could be doing such a vile thing to you while you're completely unaware? I mean, sticking your toothbrush where the sun doesn't shine is going to make you pretty sick if you're brushing with that toothbrush, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I feel sorry for this girl to a certain degree. At the same time, I feel like she's being the victim. I feel sorry for 100%, obviously, but the other girl, I just feel like she is kind of walking scot-free from something which I would say is worse than the incident we spoke about before. The one before is going to jail for something which both consented into. This is one-sided, okay, and literally, I personally, my personal take on it is that it's disgusting. It really is, and she should, I think, should be getting at least a little bit of prison time, a little, just a tiny bit, just a scratch of prison time, because there's no way. I mean, this person's gonna grow up, okay, and is gonna do. If she can do this now, what could she do when she's late? And then we're going to look at things like shootings in schools, shootings in colleges and universities, in the public, violence that's going on. This is the breed. This is where this shit comes from. It comes from shit like this. I just want to bring the guests on and get their opinion on this little story that's come up. I'll start off with Tara K on this particular story. Tara, what's your takeaway on this? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, where do we even start?
That's absolutely revolting, for one. I mean, kids are nervous enough about going off to college, especially if they're going out of state or whatever. They're nervous enough to go. And for her to be treated like that is just disgusting. And the other girl should get some repercussion for what she's done. And to get off, it seems like she's getting off scot-free.
Well, pretty much. I mean, the thing is, this is what she's facing. She's facing what's she facing? The program. She's gonna get rehabilitation. So she's gonna get 2 years of accelerated rehabilitation, which basically means if she does the 2 years, there'll be no record of anything ever happening to her in her past, basically, which is really bad.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, if we compare it to the previous story, this one should definitely get some jail time. Okay.
Yeah, she should.
I mean, she made the girl sick
from what she was doing.
I mean, this is the kind of person that we're going to see one day in the news, and they would have done something even worse than this. And then we would have been like, well, we didn't do anything. Well, we didn't know. We didn't know, And then everyone would be crying for tampons to protest against the tampons.
Using tampons.
No more tampons! Inanimate object!
About them.
I mean, crazy holes. What do you think about this story? I mean, where's your takeaway on this?
I mean, I've been to college and I've shared dorms. And first time experience going to college. It's not a nice feeling, You're nervous as hell. You're sharing a room with someone you hardly know. You have to share all your shit, and you're worried, and you're nervous about your stuff.
And you're trying to make a good impression, aren't you, as well?
Yeah, you're worried about your stuff being stolen, and B, you're worried about just other things, college life and whatever else.
Yeah, fitting in and whatever.
Yeah, and also you're worrying about whether you like you or not.
You don't need the pressures of this, surely.
No, you don't. You clearly don't. And this shit is like, I mean, like, what the fuck? Like,
and like I was saying to Tara, is comparing it to the last story we spoke on. This one should 100% get some jail time, right?
Oh yeah, no, definitely, for sure.
I mean, this is disgusting. I mean, surely it should be more than 2 years accelerated rehabilitation.
Yeah, I mean, like, exactly. And the fucking girl knew what she was doing. And
I mean, where's the justice in that? I mean, she was like posting everything on social media.
Yeah, exactly, and humiliating this poor girl. And obviously now it's on Instagram, and everyone around the campus now knows what happened. And probably they're going to walk down the halls and be like, oh, like this happened.
Oh, look, that's that girl. Yeah.
And then obviously she's going to get all those looks. So
exactly. Exodus, talk to me. What's your takeaway on this little thing? Is Exodus going to come back? He's put his mic on mute. Exodus.
I'm here.
So, what's your
I'm here to
takeaway?
talk. Don't touch crazy bitches. No, honestly though, like I think it's absolutely disgusting what she did. Like, if like I can't imagine doing like having all that shit done to me. Like that's literally unreal for me.
I mean, this is what the International Women's Day fought for, right?
Apparently, but dude, I don't know anymore.
I mean, the thing I really want to raise with this is this a white on black crime? And if that's the case, is the fact that this girl is a white girl, is it the fact that she's getting away with this so lightly? If this was the reverse, would there be more repercussions because the girl would have been black doing this to a white girl? I mean, I just want to bring Tara K on this one.
Honestly, I feel that it is. Like, I think if it was reversed, I think that there would be more punishment going out.
Yeah. What about you, Crazy?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I mean, the whole black and white controversy, the whole Jamaican, what was it, Jamaican girl?
Jamaican Barbie doll.
Jamaican Barbie, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand why.
I mean, is that an element of hate? I mean, to give her a name like Jamaican Barbie, is that an element of hate there, an element of, like maybe jealousness, enviness?
Probably.
Because I mean, the way girls get down is very different to the way guys get down. I mean, if a guy had a problem with another guy, they'd pretty much just have it out, and that's it. Like they'd either be friends after that, or they wouldn't be friends after that, and that would be it.
I mean,
these two were living together,
Yeah,
and this is what she was doing to kind of get her out of the house, out of the apartment or whatever they were staying, the dorm they were staying in.
I mean, like, one perspective is that she could have been jealous by maybe the way she looked, maybe the way she dressed, maybe what clothes she had, what shoes she had. She could have been jealous and thought, you know what? I'm not going to tell you to your face that I don't like you. I'm not going to tell you to your face that I want you to get out because I don't like you. So the only way I'm going to try and get you out is to show you and try and do things to your stuff to try and make you move out and to make you feel sick, basically.
Yeah.
So,
but it must take quite a vile person to get to that level, right?
Oh yeah, obviously fucked up in the head, of course. I mean, like when I stayed in college, I had like people going into other people's dorms and stealing stuff, and that's why I just had to leave basically because I just couldn't deal with it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that girl. I don't know how that girl. To be honest, in a way, like I would have been checking my stuff all the time, kind of thing, because you just never know.
Yeah. You just got in, yeah. But you're probably just putting on a brave face. You're trying to make friends. You're trying to, settle in and show that you're normal and whatever. And then you're living with a psycho. You have no idea. Exodus. Any final thoughts on this disgusting? I mean, do you think there's an element of racism here, Exodus? Do you think like? And I'm not talking about racism in terms of the girl is picking on this girl because she's black. I'm talking more in the sense of the punishment that she's receiving. Do you feel that if this was the black girl doing this to the white girl, that there would be a different level of punishment and maybe the outrage would be a lot worse?
Most definitely, yeah. Because fucking they went way too lingering on the white girl, but if it was the other way around, it'd be way more harsh than what it actually was.
Yeah. So it seems to be quite a normal consensus then to people to be able to, like, for people to see that, yeah, obviously this is what's happening. It's literally a black versus white kind of thing where, if you're white and you're sort of middle class, you're pretty much gonna I mean, this is this girl's hometown as well. I mean, the white girl, this is where she lives. She lives in Connecticut anyway. You know, she grew up there. Whereas the black girl, she came from out of Connecticut to go to college there, basically. So she's doing the bigger moves, as it were, to try and get better. You know, get it into, get a better head start in life. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we don't know her background and whatever, but. I think this seems to be a common theme around there is this sort of like white supremacy thing going on, and it kind of shines itself in these kind of circumstances when things like this happen. I mean, just to kind of finish up on this topic and hopefully end the podcast, fingers crossed, even though it's 3 hours and 35 minutes in. Never done that in my whole fucking life and never will ever again, hopefully. But what sort of punishment do you think would justify this kind of behavior? Coming to you first, Crazy Holes.
I mean, of course, like, more than a rehabilitation needs to be done. I'd say.
So what? Yeah.
I'd say more like a prison sentence. Cause
how long for?
I mean, anywhere between maybe. I'm not actually sure. Maybe between 2 to maybe 5 years, 6 years.
6 years. Okay, 2 to 6 years punishment for this outrageous behavior. Okay, Exodus D, what do you think? Where would the level of punishment lie with you? If you were a judge and you could wave that hammer around, what kind of level of punishment would you deliver for this kind of behavior? Exodus?
Oh, I mean, honestly, it would. I mean, obviously the rehabilitation also, but also on top of that, probably like 5 to 7 years.
Jesus Christ. 5 to 7 years. And then last but not least, we'll come to Tara K. So Exodus says, Crazy Hole says 2 to 6 years. No, 2 to 7 years, sorry. Jail time. Exodus says, on top of the rehabilitation, to give her 6 to 7 years. Big numbers. We'll come lastly to Tara K. Tara, same question. How long do you think the punishment would be, or should have been, if you were the judge in question and you had that magic wand to wave around?
I think, well, the girl was getting sick from what she was doing to her, and if she would have continued, if she didn't actually leave, she could have actually ended up, because she could have ended up dying because they couldn't figure out what was going on with her.
I mean, she was on antibiotics.
What? Well,
she was
the antibiotic didn't work.
Exactly.
And so in my opinion, it was attempted murder. So I think,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm stretching it a bit, but
well, you definitely make the headline news, Tara. Definitely.
I would say, like,
don't forget, guys, you can go watch Tara live every day.
1 to 5 years, I would say.
1 to 5 years.
But
okay.
with probation after that.
Okay, with the chance of probation. Okay, with good behavior and what have you. Okay, I just want to sort of pass this question off to you guys, really. I mean, if you guys had the chance to wave that magic hammer that the judge has and smack it on the table with a number on it, what would you say would be the justified sort of punishment for this kind of behavior, for this kind of crime? Because it's a crime. It's a crime. You're trying to harm someone's well-being by damaging their health. That's quite severe. You can feed someone a little bit of poison every day to eventually kill them, but if you don't get caught feeding them the poison, surely you'd get the same punishment as if you tried to kill them anyway, right? Surely. So I'll pass the question off to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? What sort of punishment should she have received instead of the punishment she did actually get? And also, do you think that it would be reversed? Do you think that if this was a black girl committing this kind of atrocity to a white girl, that the repercussions would have been a lot worse? Let me know in the please let me know in those comments down below. If you're watching us live, drop your comments so we can reflect on them during the live stream. But we pretty much come to the end now, so you're probably not going to get a chance. Oh, hold on a second. Marlene Wheeler, she says 5 years. No chance of parole either. Jesus Christ, Marlene means business. So she says hand out 5 years. So 5 years it is. So I'd like to say a massive shout out to everybody for joining us today on the live stream. As always, big shout out goes out to obviously the guys over at youtube.com. I'll start. Brian says good night all. Thank you, Brian, for joining us today. As always, it's awesome to have you on the stream. So big shout out goes out to Brian, Gamer Boy. Also, we had Nicholas. We had Tara K Dick up in here as well. Even though she was a guest, she headed over to YouTube and smashed that like button. Thank you very much. We had Overkills 7. We also had Awesome Guy. We had Elijah James Exodus D, and who's also a guest in the show today. We had the Devil's Lair. We had The Fizz. We had Harley E. Banks. And we also had Tri Nation, North Gaming, and Ben Barrera. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us over at youtube.com. Those of you who watch us over at Twitch, we had Freaky3K, we had Tara K, Cobra, X-Cobra Beast. We also had Marlene Wheeler, and not least, and that was everybody. That was everyone over at Twitch today. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow now with GTA 5 live on the PS4 Roleplay. Come and join us. Come and play a little bit of roleplay with us tomorrow. Me and the T4 Army as we keep embarking on the ever-growing roleplay that we're trying to build over on the PS4. Be sure to join us for that tomorrow. But we'll also be here on Sunday with Super Sunday live on the PS3 with you guys on GTA 5 Roleplay. Join us for that if you're on old gen. But until next time, guys, as always, stay safe, stay awesome, and peace.